Hang on. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you may be, or good evening, depending. I greet you all with the love and honor of the infinite creator, and I continue to pray that each and every day, that each and every one of you will continue to learn how to accept and receive the knowledge, the healing, the wisdom, and the many blessings from the universe. And I hope that everyone is doing well. This is Friday night, Saturday morning. Let's see, what time is it? It's 2:19. So in a minute, there's a 20. Hi, Roman, the weed ganja shaman. Whoa, cool beans. Travis, Roman, Alex, anybody else that's showing up? Um, it's 2:20 somewhere. I mean, it's 20 minutes after the hour everywhere. Hey, Roman. Yeah. Oh, my God. Good morning. Yeah. I'm having one of those periods of time where time is just being wacky for me. It's a minute. Now it's 2:20. It just changed. But anyway. It just changed. 8:19. So anyway, I hope that you all are surviving the heat and whatever's going on. The humidity down here today was just, well, it's summertime, and these are dog days, which is a separate discussion, but it's 95 degrees outside, and your blood is full of beer. And my blood's going to be full of the rest of that bowl here in a minute. But in looking through stuff that's, I don't know, subject material that ends up on the internet, and it's like for some reason, I notice those things which appear that haven't necessarily been in the news kind of thing. I look for what's different. It kind of jumps out at me. Plus, I get spiritual guidance where the guys and gals up there, just want to kick my butt and say, talk about this. Okay. So, and I was bored, and I've been trying to get to sleep, and I couldn't, and I woke up, and then I laid down, and it's so damn hot. Hey, Pearl, how are you? Blessings to everybody, honest. Coolest day here. It was awesome. Oh, cool, Travis. The weather, is it overly hot? No. Is it, I've been doing fair to middle in there, Delaney. For me, ever since I've been back from my trip, time has changed. And I really, honestly, don't know what's the gig. Okay. I don't know. I don't know whether it was the trip or coming home. We're getting a lot of solar flares and a lot of extra energy that's affecting us in different ways. And I don't know whether or not it's some of the stuff, because if Mother Earth is ringing and showing up on the Schumann and all that kind of stuff, and of course I have to throw in the brain trauma that I've had over the years and whatever my rewiring has done, plus the cosmic energies and so forth. But anyway, it's been interesting for me. I don't feel badly. I've been halfway comatose. In a way, me too, Pearl. Honest. In a way, kind of, sort of. And I had to do, the last couple of days, I had to do some butt kicking for myself, because even though it's warm outside, it doesn't mean that I can't do something. And, I dislike ants. Okay. I ain't going to use the hate word there, but I dislike ants immensely. And they showed up in my kitchen. And I'm like, I got concrete walls that are filled. And, ants just don't crawl through anywhere from that side of the house. Now, I'm always fighting them on the south side of the house. But it's concrete filled block, 8 inches thick on the north side. Now it doesn't mean that ants couldn't have found a way through the crack, and what's this got to do with shape shifting? Just a minute, I'll be right with you. I noticed that, I had to get up and move some things, do some things, and realizing the shifting of things in my house, around the house, the shifting of moods. Think about this. This is a real stretch, maybe to some folks, but isn't that shape shifting? And you go, well, Hawkeye, what the hell are you talking about? Well, if I rearrange the furniture in my house, I'm shape shifting the house. I've changed it, right? It looks differently. David, be aware of this. I need a pilot to come to you. Be aware of this entities. Okay. I'm trying to understand, but okay. But anyway, so what does shape shifting mean? It means you're going to change the shape of things to come, as the song said years ago. And other folks have said, you want to shape the future. Okay. So we're shape shifting whatever we wish to look at. If I want to move the furniture around in my house, um, isn't that shifting? Well, I'm shifting everything. So the shape of the house has shifted, right? And a lot of times people say, well, I ask folks, because I used to do it too, well, why'd you move that over there? I don't know. I was just tired of looking at it there. It just needed a change. There was something about the shape of things that needed shifting. Okay. Shape shifting. Pay attention. This is going to get weird. Okay. So in the category of things in the universe, though, there are people, and I'm not saying that it's wrong. Okay. I'm just saying that their idea of shape shifting only goes so far. It doesn't include anything. It's interdimensional beings, they're aliens, they're, something. Other critters, So I want to have a discussion about that, in that, yes, shape shifting does exist. All right, let's just, at 8 minutes into this, 9 minutes into it, let's understand that, yes, shape shifting does exist. Now, to what degree? Okay, well, so people rearrange their furniture, that's one. Okay. You rearrange something in your surroundings, you're shifting the shape of what it has looked like previously. For whatever reason. It's not good or bad, it's just it is what it is, right? And so in some ways it's sort of like feng shui, in that, by God, I gotta change this, I gotta change, I gotta shift whatever's going on. And I need a shift in my brain. I'm gonna put the couch over here and I'm gonna put that over there. And and so, well, okay, where there are some things that can live where they are, like for years, right? There are certain things in my house I haven't moved since I put them there years ago, like this. There's a radiator right here. Let me just, that's a radiator right there. That's a deer hide hanging off, or my phone and whatever. But that radiator's there to collect heat. And also, it's right now the temperature of the metal is fairly cool, so it works both ways. It'll heat up in the wintertime with the windows there, and it'll retain the heat. But I've noticed also that, it's cool, so the air in the house there's a heat exchanger right there in the radiator. It's cast iron, there's no water in it or anything. But anyway, but to try to shift this to someplace else, right? So shape shifting. So in the shaman realms of things, there are those animals which do shape shifting, like fox, as I've talked about, is camouflage. I can't remember the other one. There's a couple of them that kind of, shape shift a little bit in that they can literally change their appearance. So one could say, all right, well, let's just talk about the Bible for a minute. That's supposed to be one of our oldest documents, etc. Bob, we love you, by the way. Say hi to all your AI out there. Let's have a cup of coffee. I finally made some fresh coffee, and I got some milk now. A friend of mine brought some milk when they came to visit. I used to use creamer, but I don't anymore. But anyway, let's stay on topic. So shape shifting. So I have talked about this before in my shaman training, in my basics, that there are those shamans or magicians, male and female. I don't want to get into a discussion about that. But in that they, for whatever reason, they know sigils, they know spells, they cast something, they do something to their environment or to themselves that camouflages them. And you go, well, wait a minute now. Well, ain't that like fox in the animal world, right? Yes. Okay, so the camouflage, but you go, wait a minute, camouflage. Well, that's not shape shifting, is it? Well, if you put on camo gear and put a net and a hat on and all that and go down in the woods, and if you do it right, it's going to be really difficult to find you. I mean, to see you, okay, if you're camouflaged correctly. So, folks in the Army and, in the armed service, in the services, those who, have trained in camouflage, there are snipers that go out, 20 miles and they're gone for days, and they become part of wherever it is that they're at the time. So they become part of their surroundings. And I've known several people who were snipers and who talked about this and camouflage and that kind of thing. So isn't that shape shifting? And you go, well, no, it's camouflage. Let's back this bus up a little bit. You've changed the shape of who you are, and you've shifted your perspective. It's not your perspective. It's what other people see you as. That perspective has changed. So you have shifted your shape. Hey, Michelle, how are you? Blessings to you and hugs, cosmic hugs, and all that good stuff. So we say, well, wait a minute now. But that's not shape shifting, is it? Yeah, because from someone else, do you appear to be human? Do you appear to be yourself? No, you're camouflaged. For whatever reason, you're camouflaged. So here's the thing. In the shape shifting of things, there are entities. Now, they're aliens, they're entities. Okay, I'm just going to leave it as a broad scope rather than trying to get into certain specifics, because there's a lot of contradiction, and there are some things that I feel, hey, Mel, how are you? Blessings out there to everybody. So, but in this shape shifting, are there shape shifting aliens? The answer is yes. Are there interdimensional beings that can shape shift? The answer is yes. Okay. There are, Miss Delaney Perler, she has seen things, photographed things. There are entities and they can shift how they look. Now they're on the other side, but whatever. But sometimes they can appear as smoke, sometimes they can appear as orbs, or they can just disappear altogether, which is interesting. I mean, so you want to meet one? I think I've met a few, Roman, not to be bragging, but in down here in the woods and some of the spiritual things I've done and being in the swamps and, way out in the boonies and so forth, like I've talked about, I have met some beings. Now, let's, for example, what comes to mind are those fairy type beings, the river nymphs, that my story of when I was down on the river in the middle of the night and I was trying to come home. I was coming home, coming back upriver, and the fog had gotten so thick because of the water was warm and the air was cold and the fog was over my head. And these little tornadoes, these little dust devils in the fog, and these little voices in my head that to this day, I'm like, people look at me and they go, "You're freaking nuts." And I go, "Listen, I know I did this little song and I talked to them, but here's the thing. They brought me 2 miles back up the river, roughly, without being able to see because the fog was so dense I couldn't see the end of my kayak, which is only 10 foot long. And I couldn't see the end of it. So that's how dense the fog was. So I got all the way back up 2 miles up the river, a section I'd never been on, and never bumped into anything, never hit a log. And there was all kinds of debris down. I should have hit a bunch of stuff, and I didn't. So here's the thing. I couldn't see, okay? So because they're interdimensional beings, they're in theirs and they're in mine. So that's sort of interdimensional, okay, in my book. They made themselves visible by swirling and twirling in the fog. That's how I could see them. I could hear them, much to my amazement. And, to this day, I just got to say, it just, it sounds flipping crazy, but it happened, it's something I experienced. So in knowing what I know and the things that I've experienced, I know that these other critters, creatures, beings, entities, whatever you want to call them, they do exist, okay? So I was watching one of Dante's videos here recently, and it was at nighttime, and there was this white thing that fluttered by. And it was like, see that right there? Notice this? And I'm like, I have taken photographs of those. Not video, but I've taken photographs of those over at the Flint River and several other places. But I have photographs where these little things that are the same thing that was on this videotape that showed up, that Dante had on the car, anyway. So these things do exist. Now, he just did a video, or actually it's on a different channel, but it's about these things that look like clouds. So you say, okay, is it a cloud or is it something else that looks like a cloud? Yeah, with this dog. Well, actually, this was one. I only want to talk and drink beer. Roman, I've talked about this before, but it bears saying again. I took years and years ago, about 2012-13, I had taken this stance that this is my property. And any negative energies on this property, I'm going to drive them away, and I'm going to plant crystals. And we, walked the place and blessed it, did ceremony. And I realized, after getting my literal butt kicked spiritually and physically, crazy crap happening all the time and stuff. I mean, it was nuts. That to try to, quote, command these entities to stay off my place when they've been here for a long time, some of them, and going in and out and, hanging about. And so that regardless of whether or not you believe it, you should take it into consideration that, all these beings be gone, Satan, get thee behind me, we can't do that. None of us are strong enough. And the other side of this is that it's not appropriate. You stay in your area and I'll stay in mine. It's about respect. It is about honor. And it is about being good within yourself. Because regardless of what happens anywhere, okay, you got to make sure that you are you. Because whether you're attacked or come across something, you're prepared. Okay, it's as simple as that. You can say, well, this, that, and the other thing. No, if you've got your spirit together, then it doesn't matter what comes your way, good or bad. It doesn't matter. You're prepared, So what are you preparing for? Preparing for the future. Because what are we preparing for? Now, get this. We're preparing, pay attention, to learn how to shapeshift. What? Okay. Let me throw this out there. Last video, and I think it was Isby, and Isby called me tonight, and I was in the middle of doing something. I couldn't answer the phone. My Blue Jay coming on. Okay, I'm crazy. Yep, I understand, Mel. I had also a visit with a Vlash hybrid, whatever. I saw his shiny eyes. Yeah, they show up in the middle of... I believe you, Mel. So, but to these, quote, entities, all right? If it's a hybrid with shiny eyes, then that's different than interdimensional beings that are and one should say, well, it's going to take more than respect and a little bit of honor if that some bitch is trying to kill me. I mean, let's be honest, right? So but one thing we can't do is be afraid. We have to be cautious. We have to be careful. We have to be prepared. And maybe that means carrying a pocket knife or something, But anyway, that's not off message, but Roman, but, a lot of folks don't understand what we mean by some of this. So, but anyway, so whether these beings are shape-shifting or they're shifting how we see them. Wait a minute, what? They may not actually change their shape. They change the way we look at them. So, for example, I was watching, I don't know, some, animated series, and they were talking about wizards and stuff, and they were like, here's this spell. Or here's this crystal. There was another story that involves some kind of crystal or, a piece of jewelry, something, right? But with that, you could shapeshift. You could change, you could touch another person, and that's all you needed. And then you could become that person, but only from other people's point of view. You didn't change. It didn't shape shift you. Okay. So, in having this discussion, though, there are different layers of the shape shifting. So As we get into this, though, that's one of the things you have to take into consideration right off the bat is there's a lot of different layers to this, okay? It isn't just one thing. It's a bunch of stuff, but it kind of sort of all means the same thing in the end, because whether you change the layout of your living room, which is shifting your living space, you know, and shaping it the way to a different way. So, and to that point, Roman, yes, we can all shapeshift. And you say, well, how do you know this? Well, because on theater, and I've talked about this, and also as a puppeteer, I learned how to disappear. When I brought the puppets out from behind the backdrop and they could see me from like chest up, the teachers even told me, and I've said this before, and I'm not trying to brag, but this is what happened. I learned how to shift. Hey, Amanda, I learned how to shift the attention from me to the puppets. I was still there, but people didn't see me. They didn't acknowledge that I was still standing there, that I was the one holding the puppets and telling the story. They didn't get it. He's going out to pee and come back. Then it's hard to tell, but after this, I know. Yep. Yes, my girlfriend learned me this. 11. But anyway, so in this understanding of shape-shifting, so the times that I have been on stage, of which is a bunch, right in front, 3 feet away from people that I've known for 15 years, swore that, and I've got a program somewhere, but that I was 2 different people in the play. I left the stage, changed, came back on as Cottingham. And my main character was of Jenkins, the butler. 245 equals 11. Gotcha. But so people will look right at you, but because I changed my stance, I've got did a different makeup, I've got, different things I've changed about me. They didn't believe that I was the other character. They were like, that wasn't you. And I said, yes, it was. No, but that was somebody else. No, it was me. Why do you think the cast calls me Jenkingham? Because one of my characters was Jenkins and the other one was Cottingham. So they put Jenkins and Ham together and called me Jenkingham. And so that was the inside joke. So, but right in front of people, they did not recognize me. They didn't know it was me. And look, I am who I am. And there's not a whole lot of you could do with my face, but to them, my acting was that good that I shape-shifted to them. I was not who that ain't you. That wasn't you. Yes, it was. So in doing the puppets, I know that you may not disappear, but the audience won't see you. They won't notice you. And, so it is the power of perception, because I, in my own thinking, removed myself. It's like, okay, time for the puppet show. So when I walked back behind my little stage area there and got my puppets ready, I ceased to exist. So I transformed in my head and transferred myself down to the puppets, so that when I brought the puppets out, a lot of people have said this over the years. They said, we saw the puppets come out and then you disappeared. We did not realize that you were there. And I was like, see, there you go. Didn't move, didn't go anywhere. I always wore black as a puppeteer, but because it's a non-color. So, but this idea that did I disappear? No, because I'm the one handling the puppets. Okay, so this idea, does shape-shifting, can you do it? The answer is yes. But do you actually change shape? The answer is no. You change your outside appearance so that other people will perceive that you have shifted your shape. Okay. So, and why is this important? Because you need to understand some of these basics. Now, there are going to be people who are going to go, Hawkeye, you're full of shit. Okay, I've got 20 plus years of experience as a puppeteer. I've got 50 years experience of being on stage. I have all this other experience with things, and the theater and the puppetry is my example to me. As other people have seen me, I have shifted my shape. I disappeared. I would, I was not recognized. Well, a little bit of makeup, yeah, but it wasn't that much. But it was how I carried myself. It was how I acted. So in acting, you can shift your appearance from someone else's point of view. Hey, David, how are you? Yep. Duggar's up on the couch. We had visitors today, and I've been using the weed eater and stuff. But anyway, greetings all y'all tonight. So anyway, what's this got to do with aliens? What's this got to do with these other things? It has a lot to do with it. And the simple reason, the simple fact is that we have to understand there might be a shapeshifter right next to you. Now, what do I mean by that? Is it an alien? Is it something? No, but it might be somebody that's faking. There might be somebody who's not telling you the truth about who they are. So when you meet someone, you go, well, this person's he's got a sailor's uniform on. He must be a sailor. Not necessarily. Or this person's got on a nurse's uniform, if there is such a thing these days. And you go, well, they're a nurse. Not necessarily. So, but you could wear the attire. You could wear a different hat like Captain Kangaroo and change your appearance in that now I'm a fireman. I put on my fireman's hat. Now I am a coal miner. I put on my coal miner's hat. So from a perspective, you have shifted your outward appearance and your character. So you say, well, I can't shapeshift. Yeah, you can. But do you need it? Or, have you ever made yourself invisible into a party or something? But you were there the whole time. And, somebody said, well, I didn't see you there. Well, I was there. And well, I didn't see you, well, doesn't mean that, who are you to miss me or whatever. But to the point, though, where there are some folks who go, well, but you shifted the perception. Now, shape shifting, the shifting of the shape. Okay. So, yeah, really, what does that mean? Question mark 3 or 4 times. Anyway, so as a shaman, I know that there are potions, there is the being let's call it what it is. It's deception. Okay. So if you're a particular thing and people, say, oh, look, there goes, there goes Hawkeye. By his appearance, they feel that, I must be this person, So what I carry. So you say, well, I don't care what people think. Well, then be careful then, because what they may end up thinking is not who you are. Now, I've spoke about this before, but here, let's put this into context in the shape shifting. So they have a perception of you, which is not who you really are. So if they met you, like my neighbors, they're like, wow, you're a pretty cool guy. We got a lot in common, and et cetera, et cetera. Oh, they brought me dinner the other day. Homemade spaghetti. Let me tell you, very few people make spaghetti sauce like I do. And my next door neighbor, Miss Sheila, God bless you, honey. That was the damnedest, goodest spaghetti I've had in a long time, other than my own. All my vids of me shifting is on. Yep. So here's the thing. We have to understand that there are different layers and different levels to the shifting process. So if you put on a different hat and a raincoat, somebody might not recognize you. You say, well, that's not shape shifting. Why? You're shifting your appearance. Shifting your appearance, your shape, if you will, so that, someone doesn't recognize you. So this idea, well, wait a minute, spies do it all the time. You look around the room and most people don't know if there's somebody in the room that's working for the CIA or whatever, So, but to my point though, isn't that shape shifting? Did they have changed who they are? Because when they go home to the wife and kids, they look like, husband or wife, right? So you say, well, now what does this matter with all these other entities and with true aliens who can shapeshift? Because we have to understand the subtleties. So depending on which alien that you may be meeting would depend upon very possibly it would depend very possibly on who they were. Now, I'm just making this up of this next part, okay? I'm just making this up. So the Palladian walks up to me and says, hey, Hawkeye, you've been having dreams since you was a little kid about Pleiades, right? Yes. And you wonder if you're from there. Well, it has crossed my mind. The answer is yes. Okay. So, but now how they appear to me may not be how they truly are, because they could be wearing a very sensitive device. The Army's been, and them folks have been using it for a while. It's sort of an invisibility cloak that when you wear it, it reflects what's around you. So in essence, it's a high form of camouflage because it absorbs what's around you and makes you look like the surroundings. You haven't disappeared at all, see? But to everybody else, you have, okay? So this is important because they may be wearing a type of, gosh, I hate to use the word device, but let's just call it a device. And it just could be smoke and mirrors. It's sort of like a hologram over them, if you will. And that so, because the way they may really look might freak me the F out, So they want to make me comfortable. They want to, okay. So if this works right, so they come and they go, okay, I'm going to turn off my little thingy here and I'm going to show you who I really am. You've seen the movies, right? So, but the thing is that, hey, when I'm on stage as a character or a puppeteer or whatever I'm doing, so when I come out of character, I become me again. And they go, oh, there you are. Where you been? I was standing right over there. Oh, really? I didn't see you. Out of sight, out of mind. That was because for me, I was hiding. I was being the fox, okay? I was being camouflaged. In my own brain, I don't want them to see me. I want them to focus on the puppets. So I know now, I don't think it's all me, but in a lot of ways, I think it is all me in a way, in that I can project that to the audience that you don't see me. I've disappeared. And I haven't. So, but is that shape shifting? And the answer is yes. You go, well, it doesn't say your definition. Nah, just be kind to yourself and just stop and think about it a minute. That's the reason for this discussion. The different levels, the different, nuances of shape shifting. So if somebody says, well, I don't believe in shape shifting, put on a hat and a mustache and put a little color on your face, a little base or something to change your overall color, And emojis talk, right? Like Egypt's. And lots of other older things too, but yes. So, but to this understanding though of the shape shifting. So, yes, there are shamans who have learned somehow to be able to shape shift, okay, and become animals, become the animal totem, to be like deer, or to be like fox, to be like moose, to be like bear, to be like the lion, to be like turtle. You know, I mean, just the idea that, so it's like, so the shaman, and I can understand this. So part of the idea of being able to shapeshift yourself, here's what it boils down to a lot, is, do you believe it? Don't care what anybody else says or whether they, well, I see you over there, you know, okay, that's, but if you believe it enough, can you disappear? Can you look like something else? Can you not be noticed? You know, can you, quote, disappear? The answer is yes. Now, sometimes it's more effective or, you know, in certain circumstances. So understanding the different nuances and level of shape shifting, if you wish to practice it. So I'm going to shape shift and like, so what am I going to become? Well, wait a minute. Well, let's boil this down to, why do I want to shape shift? For what reason do I feel I need I need to shape shift? Caramel drizzles, oh hush. I haven't had supper. Been working around the house a lot, but I still haven't hooked up. I ran out of gas and I got a tank, but I can't get to the tank. There's all this crap in my backyard, and it's a mess. But anyway, and I don't want to step on something that's hiding in the overgrowth. So anyway, so this understanding, you know, when you hear me talk about all the time, but this is part of it. So if you know who you are, if you're comfortable, if you have your spirit shield on, if you've got your, you know, aura right, if you've got, you know, your core value is established and you're, you know, and you're comfortable and you believe, and all these simple things are very, very important, because if you don't trust yourself, then you're not going to disappear. I don't care what kind of magic shit you do, you're not going to disappear because you don't believe it, you see. So regardless of what you may do, now there you may have a device, you mirrors or whatever, to where you can stand behind it and go, where'd they go? You know, smoke and mirrors, okay. Poof, you know, the ninjas, you know, throw the smoke down. Why? So they disappear in the smoke. Where'd that ninja go? Don't know. All right. So that's, they use the smoke as their disguise. Okay. So anyway, are there other ways? Could you find a magic book or something? Possibly. Because there's ancient information that has been written down by folks not necessarily, you know, looking for the good side. Because here's the thing, I disappeared as an actor, or changed my appearance because of the character I portrayed. As a puppeteer, I didn't want them to see me. I'm not part of the show. So I had a purpose, you know. But so my first thing would be, wow, I want to learn how to shapeshift. Why? Well, I just want to learn how to do it. Okay, then learn how to change clothes, change your outfit, put on a hat, do something to your hair, And even guys, maybe what I mean by makeup is a little bit of base and maybe just a little coloring so that your normal face, if it's darker, then you can lighten it with a base and people, and so you'd be surprised at how something as simple as that, putting on a little bit of base, it to change or bring out, enhance your features or not so, that people will just literally not be able to tell who you are. They did a thing years ago. I'm not sure how much it is or if they've been able to correct it. But that people, for facial recognition were using regular makeup and painting like a black triangle right here and then a blue triangle or something over here and a something up here. And so it fooled the cameras. The cameras would pick up the makeup on their face painting, whatever, and not be able to recognize them. So now that was years ago. I don't know if this is true now, but to the point though, if you change certain things, your appearance. Now, here's something that's just, okay, camouflage, but it is part of the shifting of things. During World War II and in other areas too, because airplanes were invented and used for war and stuff like that. Is that 5 or 15? I think we got 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Okay. So they made cutout pictures of airplanes and would put them out on the runway. Okay. And so from the air, they looked like real airplanes. And they were just, cut out of plywood or whatever. Basically, they were fake. So it was made to look like. So you're shifting someone's view of whatever it is you want to change. So you're changing the shape. You're changing the opinion. All right. So, but anyway, with that said, there are lots of ways with camouflage. Now, there are things that I've did in theater to where you make something, you make your set, and you do it with a disappearing line. You use perspective, right? So you want it to look like there's more space than there is. So you take these lines and you draw them in the right direction and you do a little something and you walk into the place and turn the lights on. And it looks like you're standing, on a street somewhere when actually, it's only 10 feet to the back wall, but it looks like you're standing in the middle of a street in Paris, right? So it's the perspective. And you say, well, wait a minute now. Is that shape shifting? It's shifting your perspective of what you're seeing. So in this vein of stuff, there are all these different layers. So you say, well, shape shifting. Okay. Now it includes these different levels. Now it could be alien made. It could be interdimensional species. It could be that fairies and other different, life forms can appear or disappear if they wish to. But here's another thing. I think that wait, let me back that part up a little bit. I know there are things that I have seen, and I've asked other people, did you see that? See what? That, oh, no, don't say anything. But it's, this is Mel Gibson. And there are other actors that do very well with the shifting thing as well. But to the point. So that's just a simple phase, but there's a reason behind it. So somebody says, well, I want to learn how to shapeshift. Okay. So the first thing you should do then is to learn how to be a spy. And what I mean is, just change, put on a coat, wear something different, change shoes, do something that the people that know you would not necessarily recognize you. And like if I trim my beard down, so you can still see the basic shape of my face versus if I had a beard, my mustache was longer, so um, some beer with Mel Gibson. Yeah, he would not be my favorite, my first pick, but I get what you mean. Um, Sir Anthony Hopkins. Okay, that would be someone I would like to sit down with. Yeah, in Signs. Yeah, I just watched a movie the other night called Criminal, and where they took this guy whose brain was messed up as a child and he had no feelings, and they transferred the essence of this dead cop, CIA, whatever, into his brain, and part of the memories of that guy. And I didn't know it, but when I first was like, who is that guy that's playing the crazy dude, right? The criminal. It's Dances with Wolves guy, which I can't think of his name right now. But to the point, I think in the right setting, I think Anthony Hopkins would be easier to talk to, for me at least, than Mel Gibson. But just saying. Um, because I believe too. And if you get that reference, then you know what I'm talking about. Um, Thank you very much, David. Kevin Costner. Right. And I was like, he did not look like Kevin Costner in that movie. Now, after, a little bit after into the movie, I was like, some bitch, that's Kevin Costner, you know. But he's gotten older, he put on weight. And so all of these things affected, my perception of him. And like, for example, and he does not look the same as he did in Dances with Wolves, for example. Us old folk, I am similar, but, I looked at a picture my sister sent me from when we were in Ohio, and I looked at the picture and I went, oh my God, I've turned into this old, ugly sumbitch, holy crap, But anyway, we used to do this exercise, for example, in theater, and you've seen it where you pull your hand over your face and you change it, and then you go back to this and you change it, and you blah, so practicing that. So that's shape shifting. You're shifting the shape of your face to, look grotesque or to look funny. But so anyway, so we need to go back. Really, okay, we want to learn how to do this. Well, there's all these different layers, so you can practice that anytime you want to. But shape shifting, don't say what, Amanda. Hi, Amanda. It's almost time again, ain't it? Yeah, 3:12. I'm starting early. Oh, about my appearance. Oh, okay. I was looking at the pictures and I was like, who is that old man? Oh, son of a bitch. But anyway, perception, right? So what do I want to look like to other people? I mean, the ugly old man. Yeah, I gotcha. The actor in The Ghost Rider. What's his name? Nicolas Cage. But so in this world of perception, we have to go. I have to go back to the original question. Okay, so you really, literally want to change shape? Are you sure? I mean, it's going to hurt. You know, it ain't easy, you know, and might get stuck like that. But do you want to change your essence so that other people will see you differently? See what I'm talking about? Now, I've talked about this and how how with all the people that I worked with at Prestolite, and, you know, my last day there, both shifts gave me a going away party, you know, like 600 people, you know, over the two shifts came in and said goodbye to me. And you say, listen, I shape shifted. I shifted my shape of thoughts. I shifted my words. I shifted, and it ended up, I became someone different that they didn't hate, you know, that they gave me a going away party. So that's for me, I keep repeating these stories because this is proof to me that this works. Okay. It is proof. Now, somebody say, well, Hawkeye, you know, well, then you're lying to people. No, not really. And it really does, hey, Esty, it really does depend on what you're trying to do. So in theater, yes, I wanted to deceive people. Absolutely. I wanted them to believe my character. And in puppet shows, I wanted to disappear so the audience did not see me. But those are specific things. So there's been times where people say, hey, Esty, I think I said hi. Much love right back at you, Esty, and all y'all, cosmic hugs. So, what do we want people to perceive us of? You know, so we can shift ourselves at any time by the words and deeds and how we present ourselves to people. Now, is that faking? Is that being, you know, I'm trying to find the word, false? Are you trying to put a falsehood? No, because, you know, sometimes you have to do something because someone might be uncomfortable. So you might have to put on a different persona. Um, Not that you're faking it, but that you want these people to, you know, I don't go out and tell people, listen, you know, I talk to ghosts and I've you know, spoken with space aliens and tiny little, you know, water wisp and things. You know, when I go meet people, that's not one, you know, they may have watched my videos and they go, aren't you the guy that talks about this shit on YouTube? Yeah, okay. But so, you know, cat's out of the bag. But if somebody doesn't know my channel and that kind of thing, then I'm not going to put that out there. So by omitting information, am I showing the wrong? Am I being false? Am I, you know, am I trying to fake who I am? You know what I'm saying? So the answer is only kind of sort of. But I'm not like trying to walk around and go, I'm a millionaire. I'm, you know, I'm this guy. You should, nah. They look at me and go, well, there's that long haired hippie. Okay. So, but he's pleasant. His dog's nice, you know, never had any trouble out of him. So we guess he's a pretty good guy. But, you know, we don't know him. But, you know, yeah, he's got long hair and his teeth are missing and he's old. But, you know, he's harmless. Oh, little do they know, right? But anyway. But so with this, so our shifting of us. So if another entity's out there, there's another entity out there, they may be doing a similar thing. This is the reason for this levels of discussion. 2 minutes, 3 minutes. That they may be doing the same things that we as humans would do. Well, I'm going for a job interview. Yeah, well, you're not going to wear Bermuda shorts and, you know, a tank top to go request a job or an interview, you know, as an engineer for a high tech company. You know, ain't going to work. They're going to watch you come in and go, we don't want that guy, you know, or girl or person, whatever the designation may be, other. Um, but anyway, I'm starting early again. So, what is the purpose of these other beings shape shifting for us? Well, we don't see them that way, or they hide from us, or they do not make their presence known to everyone, or some of these beings get caught on film and, and stuff. So, um, does that mean they don't exist? Are they scared of us? Or is it that they would just wish to remain anonymous? We're out here, and but we're basically they want to be left alone, and if they want to interact with us, they know how they can do it, right? So, but does that make it a falseness? Is it false information, or it is just incomplete information? So, for example, I go into town, I've got my hair tucked under my hat, and it doesn't look like I've got any long hair, and I clean up real good, and I trim my beard, and I do my thing, and I put a nice shirt on and a pair of slacks and, and some shoes, and walk in, and people would say, who's that guy over there? Because normally I got my long hair down and I'm in some kind of skivvy suit and something. But so if I change my appearance, I may not be recognized. Now, is that being false? Am I putting on airs? Am I trying to deceive someone? Maybe. I want folks to know that, if I'm going out and I'm applying for a job back in the day, that I want them to know that I come with a shirt and tie, and I understand that this job requires a certain amount of, dress upness, a certain decorum, a certain mannerisms, Uh, you don't go into a big meeting with a bunch of bigwigs and go, "Hey, y'all, how you doing?" You just don't do, you don't act like Gomer Pyle. It don't work that way. It's 320. So, but if Gomer Pyle was to straighten up and put on his uniform and walk in, you'd say, what is your name, sir? Well, my name's Gomer Pyle, sir. Okay, but that's not the same Gomer Pyle that is at home and running through the hills. Is it a falseness? No, it's part of the same. So I look at it for myself as these are different parts of me, my personality. Now, there are times, mostly on stage or something, where I wanted to portray someone else on purpose. And then there are times when, you just want to clean up and put on a good shirt and go out, right? Versus, being the old hermit guy and just put on a shirt and who gives a tootle, but to just go dress up just to go to town. Just to go to town. Put on your Sunday go to meeting clothes, just to go into town, just to feel different. But is that, well, do I want people to notice me? Or do I want people not to notice me? Or do I give a shit? It's for me. But for me, then I had put on a clean shirt, coat, tie, changed up, cleared up, and, I did it for me. I did it so I would feel better. But in doing so, I shifted my personality. I feel better because I have shifted my feelings. I have shifted my outward opinion, my outward, um, appearance, because I cleaned up, right? So, but does that mean that I'm trying to be false? Does that mean that I'm trying to, you know what I mean, to be deceiving? The answer is no, because it is a part of me. I just don't dress up like I used to. So, yeah, 222. There's a 6 in there. So there may be those folks, and it's all right if they don't agree with me. But at some point, they're going to have to come to grips with what this means and the levels of shape shifting. Now, why? After an hour and 4 minutes into this, I was going to get into this sooner, but hour two, part of this is because we need to learn how to go into the fourth dimension with beings who appear to be shape shifting. And in their own right, they are. But and I talked about this the other night. Isby brought it up, and I was like, no, we have to stop thinking about this fourth dimension stuff. We must, the fifth dimension. We'll get there, but not now. We have to go to fourth dimension. We must go to fourth dimension. There are so many people that don't know how to get along in the third dimension. We gotta go into the fourth dimension, especially some of these other folks. They gotta have training. You gotta go through basic boot camp, So, but anyway, we will get to the fifth dimension, but we must go through the fourth. And guess why? So we understand what this shape-shifting stuff is all about. You've heard me talk about this for my shamans, and I'm in training, and I always talk about it. So when I learned how to walk through that, just dematerializing and go through that wall, I will have learned how to become a shaman, right? I feel like I will have learned something. But is that shape shifting? Well, if you can believe it in here, because that's where it has to start. If you have to feel here's a good point. I can't remember how it was started or whatever, but anyway, there were Native Americans that were dancing, and they were like, they're doing those Indians over there, they're worshiping gods. They're doing this thing. And now there was a little bit to that because there was this tyrant emperor in the story, but I noticed that that the dance, I was like, and then one of the wise men there was like, no, it's more than just that, because they're dancing like the bear or they're whatever the critter was. And it's not that they're worshiping anything, but they're acting and they're being like this winged bird. They had feathers and they were doing the thing. And so in these actions, to the Native Americans and to the shamans, this shape shifting is that you imagine. So it starts here. It doesn't start with any kind of magic spell, because if you ain't got it in here, if you can't imagine what it's like to be a bear, if you can't imagine what it's like to be an ant, or a bird or whatever, and don't put anything into it. Hey, Chloe. I'm drinking Wine Australia, Smoky Bays. Well, here I am, darling. Everybody was thinking about me, and plus there was this odd discussion that needed to be, discussed. And so here I am, stuck in the middle with you. I'm out of. I'm smoking lime. Limeberry, or something like that. So, but anyway, so you say, well, all right, so there's different levels to this idea, right? Yes. And for every being, for every entity, they've got their own point of view on this. You got to understand, right? So this is my perspective, and I'm hoping that you all will think about it, because why does it matter? Well, it matters because we need to get ready, because at some point we're going into the fourth dimension. So if we start working on it now and we pass over our consciousness, we take it with you, then so we retain the information and we remember a lot on the other side. So, it's all good. You know what I mean? Versus, man, I don't give a crap, wrong idea. So we need to continue to keep our core values very strong. This is not the time to discuss them, but do it. What does it matter to the universe? It matters to you. I sit here and do this. Pink Island CBD indica. Yeah, this is something, lime wire, something anyway, something like that. It's limey. Michelle, somewhat baked. I'm working on all the way baked. But so this understanding of going into the fourth dimension, why does it matter? Because we still need to learn the information, regardless. We need to get used to it. But what does it matter to the rest of the universe? Hi, Bob. We're glitching a little bit. But to the universe, it matters to me. Now, I'm not trying to be selfish. That's one of the reasons why I do these videos, is because I want to share these things. Why? Well, because it's part of the deal as a shaman, as a teacher, and as an elder, you have to impart this information on folks, even if they don't want to hear it sometimes. But for those folks who are thinking we're going right to the fifth and skip the fourth, remember this. Shape-shifting is part of the fourth dimension. We will not understand how to deal with the fifth dimension if we can't miss the fourth. You know what I mean? So it's like, trying to tell a 3-year-old baby to run the 100-yard dash, like he was 15 or 20, ain't gonna happen, right? So it might have the willpower, might have the, but they don't have, Bob prefers, cookies. Oh, is that what that is? All right. I'll smoke one with you, Bob, and we'll share some coffee if we can. But why does this matter? So because we need to learn it for ourselves, for our future, for, in our spiritual self. It is all connected. And some people are, going to look at it and go, but that's not what it's about. I'm making biscuit donuts. Oh, hush yourself, Delaney. Hush yourself. Oh, and Pearl, I bet you they so good too. And you dump it in the sugar. Oh, crap. Hey, y'all making me hungry now. And I drank dang near a half gallon of milk just this evening because I hadn't had milk in a couple of days. We live in a time loop. Some people do, and here's the thing, especially me being an old man and looking back at stuff, and I'm going, we have been through this before, these scenarios, and like, they want to lock us down again. They're back to everybody's got to get the shot thing. And it's like, this is pissing people off even more. Well, wait a minute, and it's like something about the child credit thing or something, that if you're not going to do it, then you have to get a thumbprint and blood, your license, and they have to do a face scan of you or something. A friend of mine was talking about today, and they were like, what are they doing? There's there are times when, because I live where I do, and I don't set my time, it's 2:35 here in the house, which it's 3:33 on the computer. So I live in myself a different time zone than everybody else. So, and I feel at times that time has just stood still. Yep, 333, ain't that? So, and the older I get, because I don't interact with the outside as much, and I'm not driving around and doing all these different things. But anyway, it's sort of like that when you're in jail, that there are those folks who have been put in jail, and because they haven't seen the outside world, their time is looped inside the prison. And that if somebody served 20 years when they get out, they don't look as old as they should. And over the course of a year or two, they will age, and some of them will actually get diseases and die. There was an interesting study on, like, well, he served 10 years, he served 15 years. He didn't have any gray hair. And 6 months later, his hair starts turning white and his face gets all wrinkled. And what is it? Because the 15 years caught up with him. The time loop inside, and having been in jail, I get this. So in this time loop, which in a lot of ways is sort of shape shifting. And you go, well, wait a minute, how's that? Because the shape of where you live shifts your thinking. Well, that's a stretch. No, it ain't. Read about it. But my own time in jail for a year, you have no idea what's been going on outside. You don't feel like what's going on outside. But after a year, you go outside and it's like, what the hell do I do? I know it's only been a year, but that's not the point. I felt alien outside of my box, you know? And I was like, all I could think of was to be free. But then once I got to be free, it was creepy. And then having, since then, understood about some of the studies about, is it a mental condition? I am no time traveler. I can often say what will happen. Let's do the time warp again. Yep. Uh, Actually, but so my point to this, what's this got to do with shape shifting? Because time is sort of in there. You can stop time in your frame of thought. Like for me, I stopped being David Null and I became this character, Jenkins, in a play. And nobody knew it was me. They just honestly, they had no idea it was me. And then I played this other character in the same play. And people were like, well, I recognize you there, but you weren't this other guy. Yes, I was. No, you weren't. Yes, I was. But that was somebody. No, it was me. But to the point, perception and the time. So in my time loop, I stopped being me to become this other character. You follow me? So you step out of time when you do a show. You step out of time when you become these other characters, okay? That's one of the things I loved about doing theater. But when the show was over, everyone in the play and directors and folks, there was always a lag. For the first week or so, there was like something's missing. And you weren't in with everybody else and whatever. So you were in the time loop of doing the play and rehearsing, doing the same characters, honing your lines and your interaction and getting better. And by closing night, man, you as a cast were smoking. And either people were crying because of what you did that was so good, or they were crying from laughing and peeing themselves because you were so funny at what you did, or they were moved or whatever. We did the Laramie Project, for example. And in the Laramie Project, I played 11 different characters. I would walk off stage, change shirts, put on a hat, sometimes a pair of pants, and walk back out and do 10 lines and interact, walk off stage, take that off, and become a whole nother character. 11 different characters in the Laramie Project because there were so many characters. So many of us did several different parts in it. And there were a couple of the parts that I did there and that were very hard to do because they were very moving and how they had to be done. And the subject about Matt, I can't think of his last name right now, but, out in Wyoming, where they tied this young gay man up to a barbed wire fence and left him for dead. After dragging him behind the truck or something. But anyway, it was not a good thing. So I had to play the administrator of the hospital where he had been taken. And so I had to give an update. There were, people that came out with movie cameras and that kind of thing. Hey, Barry, how are you? It's astounding. Time is fleeting. Madness takes a toll, but listen closely, not for much longer. I got to keep control. I remember doing the time warp, drinking those moments when the blackness would hit me and the void would be calling. So, but here's the thing. So, for example, in this idea of shape-shifting, there's also a time kind of sort of warp thing tied to it, okay? It's different, but it's part of it. It's not the thing, but you have to believe that you can stop you for whatever reason and change the time. So, for example, if I want to go through this wall, my thought process is that all of my molecules and all of my everything is going to have to jump to the other side. So I imagine myself not going through the wall, but being on the other side of the wall. Okay. So you say, well, what difference does that make? Because I'm not going to pass through it. I'm actually going to leap. I'm going to jump time and space to the outside wall, to outside the wall. So I'm not really going to go through it. Well, wait a minute. Is that shape shifting? Well, that's where this subject gets kooky, right? So the fourth dimension is where we need to are going. We need to learn how these basic things work. I was going to use the word manipulate. That's sort of true, like you would manipulate a puppet, but it's more that you manage it. So you say, well, I want to go to Paris. So then close your eyes and think of the Champs-Élysées and be there. Boom. There you go. So, but it requires that you stop time and you haul ass over there and appear, quote, at the same time. Is it the same time? Well, we time jumped if I'm going to Paris, but from here, so there's a time difference, literally. But for me to pop up over there means that somehow maybe I learned how to manipulate the time for me. I stopped it. Okay. So there is the illusion that he was standing there a minute ago and now he's in Paris. So wait a minute. Did he shapeshift? You know what I mean? See, this is part of it. So now shape-shifting aliens, I could talk about that like ad nauseum, but here's the thing. In all the different races, in all the different cultures here on this earth, there are ways of how people and how cultures have learned to, not necessarily, well, yeah, kind of sort of manipulate time and space in that, they change the surroundings. Hey, Ian, how are you? For example, you set a tone, you set a mood to a place. So people come in and you smell incense and there's a gong and, so the first thing you think of is that, You don't think where is Mel Tillis singing, or wait a minute, you think Buddha, gongs, you know what I'm saying? So the setting, the sense, the mood that you're in, so it affects the time and the space of where you at. Because when you leave that area, you feel like, wow, I've been, there was very spiritual and everything. Why? Because you lost part of your time. Your time, you left the rest of the human race, and you get this, you shapeshifted into this other realm, okay? Into you're smelling of the incense, you're in a spiritual place, you're, so you have shifted your space, okay? And you have shifted your time, like being in jail for a year or and so forth, and then walking back out. It is such a strange feeling. A couple of days is one thing, but a year, it's like it was weird. So I get it. It's still an interesting lesson to be learned for me. But the idea, though, in this shape shifting, it entails all these different layers of things. These are subtleties. Do you have to learn how to, quote, manipulate or manage them all? No, but you at least need to be aware of them. Why? So that you can be aware of them. Is somebody using smoke and mirrors, camouflage, or is somebody, use some kind of like invisible spacesuit, and that they have changed their appearance? Or is it that they're wearing some, quote, some kind of a mask, meaning maybe they've got a little makeup or they've done a little something, and so that it's more easier for some folks to meet some of these critters that are supposed to be insectoid types that are the good guys, the curs. Dante's talked about them and other folks too. But here's the thing. So it's like you want to meet an 8 foot tall, mantid or ant-like creature or something, or do you want to see somebody that's like 6 foot tall and looks kind of normal? Which would you prefer? And it might be that, yeah, but they're still the good guys, but how they look, so deceit. Are they being deceitful? Yeah. Why? Well, for their own protection and for our comfort. They want us to get to know them, not by how they look. Okay. So they wear a mask. So, Edgar Allan Poe wrote the story, the Mask of the Red Death. And I did a video on this years ago, but so everyone puts on this mask, right, to become this other person. So you don't see who's behind. So, after all these years later, after doing that video and discussion about the mask and the Mask of the Red Death and so forth, that they're wanting us to wear masks again. And I mean, even in Dayton at the Air Force Museum, there were very few people wearing masks. And I just can't see everybody going, nah, we ain't going back through this again. And if I ain't got sick, then I ain't going to. You're telling me, like my sister, she had to have 2 shots, right? So she's had her booster shot because she works at Walmart and whatever. Hey, Alex. Yeah, just roll a fat one. But so anyway, so we want to shapeshift. Okay. So there's going to be time involved in it. And you go, well, how's that? Well, time to develop it, time to learn, time to practice it, time. It's going to be there, period. So how you bend time, how you, so like for me, living down here, I live in my own space and time. when I go up the driveway and drive somewhere, I'm on everybody else's time. But so for me, life goes slow here, other than the damn weeds in the backyard, for crying out loud. Holy crap. And we've had nothing but rain. My driveway's being washed out. We had 4 inches of rain the other day. Holy crap, you know? I mean, it's really nice that the rivers are up, but they're like 4 foot higher than any kind of normal. And especially for this time of year, usually back when I had my incident down on the river, it was this time of year and there was no water, you know, and I literally had to walk up or down the river, and there were a lot of stuff in the way and was no water. And so, but the idea though, that, you know, that we've got this much water in the rivers and the ponds are full and the backyard's got water. And I mean, it's like, it's good because we've been in a drought for so long. But it's like, it's really strange though that it's this high. We got 4 inches of rain the other day, Moultrie, South Colquitt County, where I live. And we had a rainstorm that put like 3 to 4 inches down in like 4 hours. It was one hell of a storm. So you never know when shit's going to happen, you know? So, but the thing is that, you know, can I plan on it? Yeah, I can always be prepared for a lot of rain. Now, my driveway, it's amazing how washed out it is with all this rain we've had this month. So I'm walking up the driveway every day with Duggar, right? And I walked up there today and I was like, you know, because the rain just happened the other day. I'm not sure if I walked up to the driveway. I think I noticed it, but I paid more attention today. But anyway, I was noticing there are places that are washed out now that weren't washed out before I went to Ohio because of all the rain we've had. So, you know, shit happens, stuff changes. Hey, Mary, you're getting a cherry blossom tree tattoo. Okay. I'm people who do tattoos and want tattoos and that kind of thing. I love y'all. I do. I got enough scars on me that I don't need any tattoos. You know what I mean? For me, at one time, I wanted a particular tattoo, but now it just doesn't matter to me. I wanted 2 feathers, like done here on my chest. Hawkeye 2 feathers. So I just wanted 2 feathers, you know, that they would have to stand up. No, that's not true. If you see, if an Indian's got feathers and they're sticking up, that means beware. If he comes and his feathers are hanging down, he's relaxed and everything's cool. But anyway. Oh, and by the way, my neighbor came over the other day, brought me some of that wonderful spaghetti that she made, and brought me this. They've seen my videos and have been lurking in the background. I love you all, but sent me this present because of who I am, 2 feathers. And a 3-pack of this kind of sage. It's different, but so they brought me dinner, they brought me feathers, and they brought sage because they know that, you know, these things go together with me. So it's like, and I didn't ask for anything, but those are some of the gifts that come from the universe sometimes. You least expect it. You know, you just be who you are and stuff comes your way. So if you're a good person, then hopefully good stuff will, you know, come your way. If you're shitty or, you know, on the fence, you know, I got a chat where I was high in the military. Yeah. Wedding cake, ice cream, crumble. And oh man, Mary. Oh my God. Y'all making me hungry with this stuff. I have some edibles in the freezer. Actually, I have I have brownies. Hmm. I should go get a brownie out of the freezer. But anyway, and I have fresh milk, so we good, right? But anyway, I still want to stay on track with this to wrap it up. But this fourth dimensional understanding, we have to learn how things will transition for us. For example, if I'm burning sage, and the smell of it, the feeling, it enhances it. Does the sage itself enhance me? And I would say no, but the smell of the sage enhances my awareness of, wow, this is the calming, this is the thingy, this. So, but does the burning sage actually change my blood cells, my thinking? Maybe. I don't sit around and sniff it, but the smell of it in the house, the smell of it in particular, reminds the mind. It's like I can just close my eyes for a second when I smell it and go, my brain wants to go into this, it's okay, like, oh, sage, and take a deep breath, and there's just a change, right? You just shifted the shape of your space because you went from some maybe being stressed or whatever, but when you get that first hint of the sage or whatever it is, you go, it's sort of like the first hit off a joint, I guess. You go, man, I've been waiting on this all day, kind of thing. You know what I mean? So and you say, well, what's that got to do with shape shifting? You smoked a joint and now you mellowed out. So now your time and space has changed. You have shifted in your thinking. You're stoned, okay? But you can sit down and watch a movie, or we used to sit around and discuss, like, well, for me, for example, somebody would call me up and go, look, we're having a thing in a month and we're going to be talking about this. Do you have any shows or anything to relate to this topic? And there were times when I'd go, yeah. And then there were times when I'd go, no, but I'll write something. I will come up with something. So me and a couple of friends of mine, we'd sit down and we'd, smoke a joint back then. Way back then, I drank a little beer or had some wine, and we'd just sit around with a cigar and just talk, right? We would bounce ideas out in the universe, right? Stay shift into the couch. But so you say, well, no, that's not true shape shifting, but you just shifted your time and how you're thinking, because then y'all look at each other and you go, what time is it? Well, it's 2 o'clock in the morning. What? No way, man. We've been sitting out here for 3 hours. Yeah. And you go, okay. So you shifted, right? Did time stop? But in the reality of it, I know y'all know what I'm talking about. So, but in your reality of it, the time has kind of sort of stopped or slowed down. It's been altered. It's been shifted. Okay. It is related. So if I want to be able to go through the wall, I choose to shift my thinking and place it on the other side of the wall. I don't want to figure out how to go through it. I just want to get to the other side. However I get there, don't care, but I want to go to the other side. So I'm going to shift my time, thinking, whatever, and jump, okay, to wherever it is that, I want to walk through the wall. So that's a different feeling than I have to meditate, disassemble myself to be able to pass through a solid object. What if you don't pass through it at all? What if you just jump realities? So, but here's the thing. So in my point for me to be as a shaman in training, I want to learn how to do that, right? So I want to be able to jump my thoughts and maybe I'll go with them, sort of like you do astral projection. Hey, Katniss, how are you doing? So you do an astral projection. So I go out, my astral body goes outside, but then my body follows me. So I've already done practice and so forth and proof about the astral part, and that I can actually be seen by certain people in the astral body. We mark down times and dates, the whole 9 yards. I've talked about it before, but to the point about this though, it does exist. We can transmit with each other. We can talk with each other. We can, whether it's telepathy. I just basically just tap into whatever wire or frequencies available to send information to somebody or people, or like just love in general. That's one station. If I'm trying to say, for example, I want to get to Elderberry and for a specific thing, then I'll think about him and try to find a channel, and maybe it'll go bing and it'll hit, he'll go, was that Hawkeye was just thinking about me, kind of thing. So, but with that said, that's kind of sort of how it works, right? So it's just out there in the universe. It's not on all the time, but it is. It's available. It's like Wi-Fi. All we have to do is to be able to, like my thought communication to Elderberry. And since we've had some similar things happen to us, and we've talked on the phone and so forth, that we have this connection. Like Brian Barnett and I, we had about some things, a lot of stuff. But anyway, so when you have that kind of connection and you understand that it's connected to the universe and it's connected to the shifting of time and space, our realities have become one. It's like, wait, Barry says, I was just thinking about you, like, yeah, this has been a while back, but, it's like, yeah, I was just sitting here thinking about doing a show. Well, then I'll hang up and go do a show. Okay. So that has happened a couple of times, kind of, sort of, or very near close kind of thing. So it happened today. So y'all understand what I'm talking about. So y'all thinking, well, I wonder what Hawkeye's doing. And I'm like, I don't know. Well, here I am. It's early in the morning, just about breakfast time, sitting by the front door, trying to unwind. Anyway, devil's on the loose. I said, down on the corner, out in the street, Willie and the poor boys are playing, pay a nickel, tap your feet. This particular bowl right here, I was just thinking about ZZ Top, that the bass player passed away. I can't remember his name, but y'all know who I'm talking about. And he seemed like a pretty good fellow. Did we all think of Hawkeye today? I had a lot of stuff to do, and I got a lot of stuff done. I got the yard kind of sort of mowed with the weed eater, and I got water back into the house. I've had to deal with ants. Dusty Lee, there you go. Thank you, guys, gals. But so I've had to clean in places back here in behind the wall and the water heater and stuff. But I've got things cleaned up that needed to be cleaned up for a long time in nooks and crannies. So this idea though, that, just certain things, and I needed to kick my own self in the ass, but what created the ass kicking was the ants. I was sitting here by the computer and saw this line of ants coming out of the bathroom across the floor. And I go, where in the flowers are these? Where are they coming from? There's not supposed to be, doesn't matter if that's where they're coming from. And I got to deal with them. Otherwise they're going to, I'm dealing with ants out in the yard this way. They always been wanting to come in the house. There were ant beds here when I took over this spot for the house, and they have been pissed for the last 40 years, okay? Let me tell you. But anyway, So, but I mean, so the ass kicking is that I had to go in there. I had to get stuff out. I had to clean. I had to find out where the ants were coming from and deal with it. It's, so, and in doing so, I'm like, man, I should have thrown this away a long time ago. I should have dealt with this. So it's all good. But in the time and space of things, it seems like there are some things that I'm finding in the house that have been sitting for a long time. And I look at it now and I go, has that been there this whole time? To my space, because, I don't go in the closet or back there. This has been here the whole time. How long has it been? When was the last time holy crap. So there's this time shift thing. It's still there. Certain other things. And I'm like, where's the garbage cans? Tossing stuff in, getting rid of stuff, old stuff, it was one thing to be a pack rat, but I used to have a lot of visitors, used to do a lot of theater, and I've got makeup kits and stuff that I had my own makeup kit. Yeah, the war ants go marching home again. Hurrah, hurrah, da 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 da. Oh, wrong song. But anyway. Jalapenos. Milky used ants marching in the video. Oh, I got you. But it was really interesting seeing this line and them going, and in the kitchen and like, oh my God. So I deal with a lot. There are things in the house that since all of this rain this last 2 months, and the amount of humidity, I've got mold growing in places here in my house that I'm cleaning because I know it's having an effect on me. And I don't want anybody else to come in here and go to coughing, well, they can come and cough with me if I'm sharing a bowl, but I don't want them to get some kind of, a fungus among us, that you could just breathe in. But anyway, but it's growing in places. It's like, what the hell there's mold over here. I just cleaned it. I've mopped the floors again. I've scrubbed it. I've put more stuff on the floor. It's just got to do with time shift because there's a shift and somehow I've lost track of time and other things have been like the ants have marched on. But I was sitting still going, where in the hell did the ants come from? So in my own time reality, I've been skipping. But at the same time, I feel like I've been someplace else, but I can't tell you where. And because I come back and with like information about, Hawkeye, you need to have this conversation about shape shifting. And I looked up and went, what? You want me to talk about what? We've given you all this information. You need to have a video and you didn't need to bring it out. You get mucus from a fucus. Never mind. Mel, I saw mucus. Anyway. So what does this matter to all of us? Well, if we put ourselves in the right frame of mind, we can shape and shift our attitude, which in a way is a way of shape shifting for us. So what do I say this? Well, many of us and folks that I saw, I know I keep bringing up vacation, but it's important. And the people that I met in a lot of other places, it's that they told me how they feel. And it's nowhere near what their news and the propaganda is trying to tell me how they feel. It doesn't work. And it's got some folks like, no, this ain't happening. I'm sorry, but no, this ain't happening. Well, we're going to do this and you're going to get, oh no, we ain't, So there is a shift in reality from those with the propaganda to those of us who are looking at it going, yeah, yet. Okay, the Russians are a part of this now, right? Yet. Not a one, right? Nothing. Null set, right? Empty set. But this idea, shape shifting. So we have to shift our thinking and shape it into something new because of the propaganda coming our way, those things that are going to affect us. So we need to be able to, in so many ways, so many words, change our reality. Well, it's just a picture show. Well, it's what we invent, it's what we carry through with, right? All these other people are in their own damn show. And it's whether or not I choose to participate in their movie or whether or not I choose to stay in my own as as a, not necessarily a director, but from a director's point of view, they're out there doing their thing and I'm directing my own play with me. I'm moving in and around the rest of them. Now, so is that deceitful? Is that whatever? No. Well, if I want this job and I want to make $20 an hour and be an engineer, then I need to be able to wear a certain tie and have a certain decor, and I need to act a particular way. And because that should be part of the job, right? So I have to shapeshift. Okay. So whatever's coming, and we can kind of see it, there are folks out there just going, I just ain't paying attention to this. Let them come to the house. They think they're gonna, nah. Now they're trying to pay folks to go get a shot, right? Seriously? That's how desperate. Now, as me and my friend were talking about it today, she said, now this is her speaking. She goes, what bothers me, I'm paraphrasing, but what bothers me is they're willing to pay people to get the shot. What's up with that? They want us to have this shot so badly, they're going to pay people, and they already have, right? So it's like, and I was like, that's getting pretty desperate, ain't it? They've tried the scare tactic. People ain't buying it. So now they're like, well, those of you who are holdouts or whatever, and folks in nursing home didn't have a chance because they just got poked anyway, right? So, but this idea that we're going to pay people to come and get their shots, that we're going to pay people. So it's like not in the history of anything in my lifetime, in my 68 plus years, have I noticed anything like that. You look back through history, there was the polio thing, but there were people that had polio. There are people that had, the tuberculosis or lived with the lung thingy, and, so it's like horrible. So, and things like that still occur, but not like it used to. So if there's something that I can take and I don't end up like that with polio or something, then I'm going to be, okay. But they had tested it, had been out a while, and they called it monkey blood or something, that they had used monkeys to do the thing, and that's how they developed the vaccine or whatever. Back when I was a kid, it was, we were part of the monkey trials, right? Interesting. I remember that as a kid, but this idea, so what has that got to do with anything? You see, they have shifted our way of thinking. They have shifted who we are by these events, right? So we create our own reality when there's already a reality out there. It's whether or not we choose to participate in their reality. That's the key, right? So it's like, and if you want to say it's the Matrix, whatever, but there's this play going on, whether we want it to go on or not. And there are certain players that are going to do certain things. There are certain alien shapeshifters, sort of like in the sci-fi V, and so they look completely different from how we see them. It's their projection. It's their hologram. Okay. So, but at the same time, changing our feelings, making, if we acted a particular way and we choose, vaccination passport, well, then I guess me and Doug are just going to sneak around it because I ain't doing it. And a lot of friends around here are going, no. Yeah, they're offering it. And this is one of the new ones, that if you get your shot, then your name goes into a lottery, and then you could win $1 million or something if you get your shot and your name goes into the hat. So what? And never in the history of anything have they ever had to coerce people to take something that they really didn't find necessary. So they're trying to scare us again after 2 years. It's going to come out again. There's all these new cases. They want to, Australia, God bless them folks down under. Y'all should just go in there, get baseball bats if you have to. Go take them sons of bitches out and say, no, we ain't doing this. You all should go to the streets. And if they shoot a few of you down, they'll run out of bullets, but then you can take over and you can stop that shit. I hate to say it, but sometimes that's just nonsense. And they want to try that around here again. And I'm like, that 2,000-mile journey, people are not going to go into that. They didn't go the last time. They're not going. So guess what? There is this reality shift. Some people think it's going this way. They want us to believe in their movie. And we're going, nah, sorry, we're choosing to just stand by over here and watch y'all play your movie. I don't want to be a character, just a bystander. You might see me in the movie because I'm standing on the street, but I'm not really participating. I'm the bystander. So this idea, though, that we are shape shifting as we're moving because time is shifting. So for me, for example, being down here by myself more, and I want to get it out of this time loop, right? So I'm kind of shaking my fist at all this rain because the river's a little too high for me and Duggar to go on, right? Where normally, you could walk down the river this time of year in a lot of places. It's so dry. You can't float. But anyway, so very interesting in things that are changing. Now, all these climate changes and all this, no, I remember when I was a kid coming up here to South Georgia with the carnival, and it rained a lot in the summertime. Somewhere every night there was a thunderstorm, and the creeks kept, running. The ponds stayed full, but nothing flooded. There was just a balance. And then then the sun changed and other things changed. And then down here in South Georgia, things just went nuts. We went into droughts and changes and stuff. So, but, if this is any sign like last year and this year, it's been more normal. So it's like, to me, we're cycling back to the way things were 55 years ago when I remember being here before. So time shift, and are we doing the time warp? Are we repeating certain things? And I want to say yeah to that. And what's this got to do with shape shifting? Because when you notice it and you pay attention to these shifting times and things, you notice how other people shift in their thinking. We're coming up on 420. So other people are shape shifting, and we're standing there watching going, You know, there are some people, for example, that went and got shots and stuff, and there's a certain amount of fear and so forth, or I got to do this because they wanted, the president said so, kind of thing. I just scratch my head and go, okay. So, but to the point, many years ago, I would have kind of felt obligated the same way, where now I'm going, oh, hell no, right? But here's the thing, Michelle, timelines. Let's, a quick discussion. My timeline is not what your timeline is. And your and my timelines are not what their timeline is. Why? Because we view our time differently. I'm down here with Duggar. We're, you know, living down here in the ding and, you know, blah, blah, blah. And so my understanding of time is totally different than when I used to go to work all the time and I had, you know, I had meetings and I had to do things. I was on a different timeline because my time was spent differently. So this idea of timelines, it's ever changing because we have the choice on how we spend our time. Now, sometimes it's forced upon us. We got to go to work and we got shifts and all that. But this idea that whole sections of timelines. So I want to say that 2 years ago, when they brought this stuff out and scared us all to death with the mask and everything, some of this, right? That was a time shift, right? Everybody stopped doing stuff. They changed the timelines of all the people and directed them the way they thought they should go. But in the meantime, the people who were now not working or whatever, they are learning other things and doing other things. And a lot of people got a lot smarter, and some folks never bought into it. But here's the thing. So the consciousness of people has changed. I mean, think about all the pissed off people in Australia when they know that shit is bullshit. People in London and France, and they're sick of it because they know better, okay? But because of politicians and whatever, and maybe, you know, the French should get out the guillotines again. But, you know, anyway, I do not support violence, but if they're going to be violent to us and make us do things that, you know, it's not my God-given right to just, you know, here, take this pill. No. Here, take this shot. No. Here, do this. Sorry, but no. I pay my taxes, my property. You know, and no. But, no. Now they can force me, they can shoot me, they have done it. They have, you know, taken me off to jail. They have put me in the nut house for 3 days. You know, they can do that shit, and I get it. So they interrupted my timelines. But timeline, so this idea of, well, they changed the timeline. And this timeline is this. Listen, each one of us are on our own timeline. And there is the collective. So we choose to participate in their timeline or not. And you say, well, this timeline is going on and this doing this thing. And, well, you know, the aliens and the spirits. Listen, by not choosing to participate this second time around with all this shot stuff, we are changing the timelines. They changed it last time. We're changing it this time. And, well, but the aliens and the spirits and the thingies, each of us are a part of time because of the time we put into things. So we determine whether or not we want to follow this timeline. Well, you know, it's this, that. No. Now, so shape shifting, what's this got to do with this? Because they're trying to shift our time to coincide with theirs. And I'm like, no, It's 4:20 somewhere. Okay. But it's 4:20 somewhere. It's not 4:20 everywhere. You know what I mean? It's 20 after everywhere, but it's not 4:20 everywhere. It's by choice that we share it and it becomes a 4:20. You see what I'm saying? We have shifted our realities. We've shifted our point of view. We have shifted our energy to say, hey, it's 20 minutes after the hour. Let's share one. That's it. But in this collective at 20 minutes after, whether you're smoking or not, you go, it's 4:20 somewhere. I mean, I know a lot of folks think about it, that kind of thing. But so anyway, I've listened to people, and some of them I won't drop any names or anything. I don't want to do that kind of thing. But they have discussed, well, we went out and fixed this timeline. And I go, really? Yeah, me and these aliens, we went out there and we did this, this, and this, and this. Well, hang on. The timeline's ever changing. So if we're part of the flow, and we are, so if we're part of the flow of things, because we are who we are, because we can shapeshift ourselves in our own timeline. Well, I don't wish to participate. For example, let me bring this up. It's 2:06 hours, 2 hours and 6 minutes. It's 4:24 a.m. here on Eastern Daylight Time. You're sitting with the Hawkeye Two Feathers. This is going on hour 3. I had no idea it was going to go on this long, but they, my little spacewalks with the spirits these last week or so, they've been downloading a lot of information. And this is just one of those topics that, needs to get unraveled because of how it's all tied in together and how we need to understand it to be able to understand the fourth dimension and beyond. I know this is crazy. I know it seems far-fetched. But to the same point, though, we need to be aware. See, I was talking with Jody, and it was about, when you learn certain things, and information comes your way, your reality changes. Like when I knew that those fairies existed, when I took pictures of the spirits and the orbs, when I was in Ohio and had at the petroglyphs and had that being speak to me, and I took all those pictures of all those, blue orbs. It's about the color of Esty Montford's avatar thing on the chat room there. They look like that, actually. A lot of them did. And friendly and nice to be around kind of thing. But, oh, my God, when I took pictures and saw it myself, I was like, holy shit. So when you have that realization that, oh, my God, this is real. Oh, my God, these things are connected. Oh, my God, oh, my God. So you're never the same after that. You can't unlearn it. So with that, all that information, or with the understanding of things like that, you go, holy crap. Now, how does it, but oh my God, well, yeah, I believe that. Yeah, but when you take pictures of them, but yeah, when you have conversations with them, but yeah, it's a whole different level than just saying, oh, yeah, I think they exist. Now you got your own proof. Now you participated. So it's like, so your reality has changed. Guess what? So's your timeline. Why? Because your reality changed, right? Your concept, your awareness, you can't undo it. So had you not gone there, had I not gone to Ohio, had I not gone to the petroglyphs, if I hadn't made such an effort because I was drawn to this place, right? ding, ding, ding. They were kind of sitting there waiting on me, took pictures and had conversations, right? So does anybody believe it other than me? Well, somewhere I still have the pictures. So in that, yeah, it exists. And yes, it happened. Um, I need to find those pictures too. Hopefully I still have them and download them and bring them about. But anyway, so, but if you've never experienced it, then I hate to keep using your reality, but in a way, that's what it is. And that, you don't know if it's real or not, but you think so. Maybe it's possible. Okay. But then when you experience it and you go, well, there's no doubt. That's it. Okie dokie. Well, there are bears in them there hills. Well, you go, yeah, okay. And then there's a hiker going along, and, blowing his whistle, right? This is an old joke. And they go, yeah. And they go, yeah. So blow the whistle, yeah, so that all the bears know where the hikers are. Anyway. So grizzly bear is up on the mountain and hears this whistle blowing because this hiker thinks they saw a bear. Now all the bears, because they can hear for a long way, are going, oh, look, there's a hiker over there down in the draw. So anyway, it's sort of like rabbit calling to the, the eagle and the hawk and owl to come eat it, The Knights Templar, yeah, there's several things, ST, and also in the Vikings, there's some stuff in there that is a whole lot more. It's got some hidden truth in it, if you will. So in this time shifting, so here the key word is shift. So if your perception of time changes, then so does how you feel about the universe. And then because your perception changes and your awareness changes, it's part of the evolution of your understanding of things, right? That's what you ask for. You're asking God, Creator, give me the energy, give me the strength, give me the information. And then when it comes, then you go, what the hell am I supposed to do with this? You know what I mean? So, and then after you realize it, because your perception has changed, now you have to think about things differently. My friend who was here, they had issues with their big pickup truck. And she said, David, she goes, I really like it. We had to get rid of it. We had to get something. She goes, the payments are smaller. But she said, it ain't my big truck. She goes, it's a nice vehicle and all that. And I feel like I was pushed out of this and didn't really have a choice, but I'm going to accept it. But I really missed my big truck. So she's going to have to go through this adjustment period. She understands it, the reasons and all. And, but to the point, though, her reality, there's a time shift in that she's used to this great big truck, big wheels, high up off the ground. And now she's more like the rest of us. And it's different. So it's like, my time. Oh, I'm going to have to, so this idea. But that changes who we are on the outside, how we react, how other people see us. Because now she's not country girl in a big pickup truck. Now she's more sort of in a suburban kind of thing, different. It's okay, but it's different, right? So her timeline has changed in that what she would do with the big truck versus what she does with this one is going to be different. How she drives down the driveway, for example. She goes, I didn't know your driveway was so bumpy, because the big truck would just come right on down. I'll go, yeah, but it's washed out too since you were here last. So, but that's my point. The driveway's getting worse because all this rain, and it comes down and it washes it out, and it's a mess. So I've been putting cement up and down it for years, but when you get 7 inches of rain in less than 6 weeks, in about a 6 weeks period, that's a lot of rain, for around here. especially as it just doesn't come in little bits. But so to some of that, yeah, there is some Mandela effect in some of this too, Michelle. And I do believe that, well, did they shift, or has our perception of things changed? So there were a lot of people that thought that something was red when it was actually yellow or whatever, right? I was thinking about a sign or a building or something anyway. Or words have changed or something. Was that our perception? Or, I can't find a book that, but anyway. But so to the point, is that really happened, or just we just have basically a collective brain fart, Okay, but here's the thing. Did they change the timeline? Did they go out there and mess with all of us, as all these billions of folks, and which would affect other planets and other things? Did they change this timeline, or did they change something to us around us that makes us believe that timelines have changed? So they still caused it. They caused the Mandela effect on purpose to drive some of us crazy, and to see if anybody noticed about what they've been doing, right? So, well, reality has changed. No, they changed the reality to see if any of us would notice. And so, since we've been noticing it, those of us have joined, the League of Like-Minded Beings, right? We are the soul tribe. We are this collective because we understand things that other people are just never going to get. And even trying to broach the subject with them is going to mess their tiny little minds up. So, number one, you aliens. Yeah, okay. But now here's the thing. There were shamans, and, Christ was supposedly able to, disappear and be somewhere else, right? He was seen multiple places around on the planet during his time here on Earth. Okay. Now, whether it was the exact time, there is a correlation of of Native Americans being and different tribes being met by this white brother kind of thing, who sought peace in the future and so forth. So, and there's a lot of evidence here in the United States that the Charistas have been here in different places for a long time. There are other alien groups that have been here, so why not the good guys, right? But so anyway, so with that said, we have to bring in this history. Why? Because you have to understand how far back this goes. Why does it make a difference, Hawkeye? Because if you just think that it's this biolocation, yeah, you just transfer the thought and you go there. So, that'd be a neat trick. But here's the thing. It's in some of the old sciences. So, do we relearn it? Well, I think to some people, this biolocation stuff would be like, giving it to the Joker and the Riddler and going, here, we're going to teach you how to biolocate. So they biolocate into the Federal Reserve and steal the gold and biolocate out again. I mean, so there are some people, some other entities that are just not going to be respectful. They're not going to follow the one rule: do no harm. So if people are going to learn how to use this thing, and be in two places at one time too. There were shamans who were able to do that, and I've been able to do it because people have seen me in at locations, and so forth. So, I know that it can be done. All right, my being beat in the head and having all these head injuries, I'm not sure that I'm as good as I was back then, but I still understand it. I know that I still go on journeys to the other side, and they give me, I'm going to class basically. And then when I come back, they say, okay, go have this conversation with folks. So here I am. But anyway, and whether you believe that or not, okay. But it is for me what's happening. And I have to look at it and go, now isn't this interesting? So why do I have these sleep spells? Well, because we got information that we need to download, and we just can't sit and talk to you about this. We kind of have to show you. So here I am stuck in the middle with you, kind of thing. I love you all, I do. Gonna go test my new phone. Good night. Dream well. Yeah, it's getting early morning. Yeah, I hadn't realized it was, going on 5 o'clock in the morning. I had different things and was doing other stuff, and I didn't get on until 2, right? So, but anyway, it just seemed like Creator was asking me to, come in tonight and have a conversation. And I know there are folks that can watch and listen to this later on, but keep in mind about, so why in this third hour we're going through now, it's 2:20. 2 hours and 20 minutes I've been doing this. So here's the 20 mark, just for the hell of it. But the idea, though, that in the grand scheme of things, if we understand how our realities can be shifted by other forces that we really, don't really want to follow or go along with, they want to change the timeline. But my question is, have they? And I would counteract and go, I don't know if these aliens and folks have really messed with the timelines like some of these folks have talked about. But I would suggest that as we people wake up to things, we have changed the timeline. And by that, I mean, when the virus first came out, not enough of us died because of Agenda 20. And yeah, see, we've all shifted our view. Three Stooges, Trump, everyone. Yep, he's part of it too. Yep. See, for me, I knew he was part of it's two different factions. Trump and them are with the Mater. There's even been spaceships seen flying beside Air Force One when he was president. Obviously, he's on their side. The Vlasher are totally different, and they're the Democrats. But they're two alien races on either side of, keeping everything messed up, and we're the folks in the middle. It don't matter. Until we get rid of them folks, all we can do is just sit back and watch what kind of idiocy they want us to go through. They want us to destroy ourselves. They want, so without just opening fire on us from spaceships, which they have done and probably will do. But this understanding of shape-shifting. So our realities are shaping differently, and they're shifting because of our perspectives, because of what's going on around us. And when we say, no, we don't want to participate in what they want me to believe, I'm sorry, I don't want to believe in that propaganda. That's my choice as a human being. So therefore, enough of us are going to change the timeline. Why? Because what they intended was for us to all get the shot. They intended for all of us to go right along with it. They intended for so many of us to get whatever it is. They intended for things to turn, divide and conquer. Yep. They intended for things to be different. So I keep talking about my 2,000-mile trip, but I'm listening on the news and even some of these YouTube channels, and I want to go, shame on you people. Have you traveled around? Do you really think all of America looks like this? Oh, well, there's food shortages, and well, there's going to be this. There's always some kind of shortage of something at some time, somewhere in the system. It's prone to fail, whether or not there's any kind of global catastrophe or not. But, for example, if a peanut company, there are a lot of peanuts growing. So farmers are growing the peanuts because they're going to bring in a crop. So then peanuts come in, they're going to go to somewhere, and then somebody's going to have peanuts, whether it ends up as oil or as something, or, So here's all these things. So they're already in progress. And it's like, oh, there's shortages. And well, there's this. And well, there's that. Is there? I went through the corn belt. There's all this corn growing. Oh my God, the thousands of acres of cornfield. Great big tall, looks better than South Georgia kind of corn. But South Georgia's got corn. South Georgia's got other things that they're growing this year. And there are other farmers who have changed from overhead watering and stuff. I mean, there are folks who have changed. And so, because they're doing things differently, because they chose in their time to do different or to go a different path, it's changed the overall timelines. And you say, well, they changed it. Yeah, to mess with us, to muck with us, to divide and conquer, to try to, Agenda 2021. And here it's, we're more than halfway through the year, and they have not achieved any of their goals. So there are things that, like farmers are going to cultivate their peanuts when they come. There are people who are going to put them in silos and keep them dry. There are people who are going to know peanut butter brownies. Yep. I had a peanut butter and chocolate protein shake. It's my friends bring me one when they come. But I was like, so I've had peanut protein, something, something. Yeah, but okay. So, but there's all these peanuts, there's all these things, there's corn around here, oh my God, we're going to run out of food. I don't know. There's thousands of cows around. There are people who, hunt deer, my neighbors, and they put it in the freezer. There are a lot of stuff. There are pigs that, for those people who eat, pork. We have farms around here that, raise hogs. And around here, we've got all these millions of chickens. So for the fact that, the economy is going to die and this is going to happen, we're all going to run out of food. And I think to myself, no, it may change. It may alter how it works or how it goes about. But all these people aren't going to stop, raising chickens. They're not going to stop producing. They're not going to, no. The companies, for whatever reason, they want to stay in business, whether it's to stay profitable or not, but they want to stay in business because it keeps everybody in line. And they like chicken too, So this understanding of timelines, though, so it's altered because we have chosen not to agree. We've chosen to disagree and go, no, sorry, we're not buying in. Look for what? I missed it. Intended us to go deaf, dumb, and blind. Yeah. So, I'm talking to a 14-year-old today, and I'm thinking to myself, that they're smarter, they're not paying attention. The mothers and fathers are going, no, sorry, we ain't doing this. No. And the folks like up in Tennessee, I was talking to my friend and I said, they passed a law that anybody can carry a gun in the open, period. And I was like, they said felons didn't matter. They just, because if somebody's going to commit a crime, if they've had a felony and they're going to get a gun and to use it anyway. So I can't get a gun in the state of Georgia because I've got a felony. Even though I didn't have a gun or anything like that during the commission of it, I can't do it because that's Georgia law. So, but it's against the constitutional right. So after I serve my time and my probation, I should get my rights back. And Georgia says, well, if I apply and do this, I could try to get a thing and they'll send it to a court and they'll see if I'm, a good enough person, if I've been, violent or anything, arrested for drunkenness or, whatever. And but I don't want to go through all that hassle because then it draws attention to me. You know what I mean? And I've also learned that bows and arrows are quieter. I can also make my own arrows. And I can make my own bowstrings. I've got several different kinds of bows. I used to have a compound bow, But now I have a crossbow and several, recurve bows, which I'm pretty good at, and quite, if I have to go hunting that bad, I'll make it. But to the point though, in the understanding of things, how we spend our time changes the timelines. So if we participate in whatever the participation is, our energies are all there. You know what I mean? So when it's football season, yeah, it's football time. I'm surprised this year. Oh, that's what I was going to talk about, the Olympics. You know, that the gymnast that got out kind of thing and said, what they told her, the judges, the Olympic judges, they said that she was so good that they were saying that they told her that it was not possible for her to get a 10 because she was so much better than all the other people and all the other competitors that and she could do stuff that nobody else could do. And because she was so good, the judges had said that she would not be allowed to get a 10. 9.9 was as high as she could go. And you know what she did? She said, screw you. King Richard awarded him for saving the king's life. Yeah, see, and my ancestors, the Lees, came over from France during that time and helped him with the round table. Yeah, Simone Biles. Yeah. So the rest of the story, and it's like, and the Americans are beating up on her. And if you've let the team down. And I want to say this about this because it is about perception. Her own self-respect. If she had given in to their demands or whatever, then she would have sold out to participate. And she said, no, my own self-respect, my own self-esteem, and I don't need y'all. Screw you. I'm going home, like a Cartman thing, right? So it's like, but for the Americans to go, hey, you let us down. Oh, no, you didn't. Nuh-uh. Don't you even go there, girlfriend, because her own self-esteem is more important than any team. If she had gone along with the team and competed and somehow lost by 1/10 of a point because the judges had deemed that she was not allowed to receive a 10 ever, whatever, are you serious? So the answer to that is, Simone, I'm with you. Good for you. And no offense to the American whatever, but if they don't understand that respect and honor to yourself, to thine own self be true. So if she'd sold out, she'd had to live the rest of her life knowing that she'd sold out. And at my age, I look back and go, there are a lot of times that I wished I'd done something just slightly different. And so in that, she said, no, I'm sorry, I'm not going to participate. She changed the timeline. You follow me? So there are people who they're trying to control. This is just one of them. Go along with our agenda. Think about this. Hunger Games. Think about it. And here she is. You've got to go along with our program. And that's how that's got to go. No, it ain't. No, it ain't. So we have the choice. We have the opportunity ourselves. So in our shape-shifting abilities, how I look at myself and how I, my picture and seeing stuff and how I was, 15 years ago, 20, 30, 40 years ago, I have shifted. I have changed. Not necessarily good or bad, but I have changed. So with this idea, though, so how do I want to go in the future? Well, I can sit here and eat a lot and get fat, and that would change my appearance. Or I can continue to sweat, I swear to God, It's like I've been in a sweat lodge down here these last 2 weeks with the humidity. That's another story. But to the shape shifting, the shifting of our shape, our appearance. So how do we change it? We just think about it. Well, I just realized I'm not going to participate in that. So you just shape shifted because now your aura is going to be a different color. Now, how other folks or how the universe is going to look, because you now have reached a certain decision in your head and you're going, no, I'm not going along with this. So that's changed the timeline. We continue to change the timeline. So this idea that somebody else went out there and did it, I want to say that they might have went out there and initiated something, but I'm sorry, I have control over my time. Well, who changed it? And I've listened to this stuff, and for up to a point, I believed it. But then I kind of sort of had my own little revelations, my own little time journeys. They're going, that ain't quite true, Hawkeye. Yeah, but they said they went out and fixed the timelines, but the timelines are always changing. They can't fix them because they don't know. Hey, spirit woman, they don't know, Hawkeye, what you're going to do next. Huh? Yeah, because you affect the timeline. I do? Yup, you do. I affect the timeline. Yup. You go to work, you don't go to work, you affect shit, Hey, spirit. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be. It's 2:36 hours time. It's 4:54 a.m. here, Eastern Daylight Time on Hawkeye's all-night radio kind of thing. And tonight's discussion, and it's kind of time warped into time and how time and how our shape shifting changes, how we learn how to do these things. Time is involved in that. 2 a.m. in San Francisco. Well, it's Saturday morning down here in the South, almost 5 o'clock. But anyway, I'm kind of asking if there's any more I need to cover on this. So, but anyway, about the timeline thing. And Michelle, I'm going to pick on you, okay? But only because I've been through the same thing. We don't need to buy into some of these other folks' discussions about, well, we changed the timeline and the timelines of this and the timeline. And because I've listened and I've listened and I've listened, and now I listen and I want to puke. And the reason I want to puke now is because in that old Chinese proverb, that if you want to know something, you want to know the answer, the outcome, you must eat it. And if it gives you indigestion and makes you want to throw up, then it must be wrong. It's the wrong thing. So, but here's the interesting thing. I had to go out in the middle of the lake and have that experience. I had to have certain things happen. I had to go on this journey of 2,000 miles in a 2-week time, and the time shift and the things that changed and how I reacted while I was gone during that time, and what continued to happen here at the house where it was raining and the weeds are all over the place. It's worse than a jungle in places. It's horrible. And it's too damn hot for me to work on it. So, it can be frustrating and okay. So I can spend my time worrying about those things, or, my decision today was I'm not going to go out there with the weed eater for 5 minutes and just go do that and come back in the house. And if that's all I do is 5 minutes, because the heat and everything, for every 5 minutes of weed eating, though, I can make a good dent. I can clear some of the stuff out. I can make my pathways back where some of these weeds have just gone nuts with all this rain, right? Normally, I don't have this issue, but anyway, so It has changed my time because now I'm spending time working on these things when I really want to be working on these. Okay. But the two of them are connected because I need to be able to walk around my house. I need to be able to get to stuff. Um, but during that time, my things shifted. So, but this idea of they changed the timeline. Consider this. They could have instigated something in the present. Well, did they go in the future? I'm I'm not too sure about that. But I am sure that they've thought about this for future events and at certain times, because if you notice, there's a lot of coincidence. I listen to Mr. Cat Eye, and he does a lot of numbers and stuff. And they do things at certain times of the day with numbers on certain dates, certain times of the year. And it's been going on for a long time. And there are certain numbers that keep coming up all the time related to these different groups. And so there is the Trump group and there is the other guy's group, right? So, but here's the deal. So, but both of them are against us, but they're warring with each other for the control on how they should, so they give us money and they give us, oh, well, here's the thing. I told my friend, I said, so this child care thingy, they're trying to affect the timeline. They're going to give you this child credit. Listen to me. I know what it's double talk. They're going to allow you to keep the money so you don't have to pay in as much, right? So they don't have to pay you back at the end, but they want you to jump through certain loopholes. So, but it's mumbo jumbo double talk. We're going to give you this tax credit and you can sign up for it now. Ooh, and everybody's going, wait a minute, what the fuck? And so they were like, no, let them go ahead and they're going to, let them keep taking the tax out, especially if they're going to make me do all this other crazy stuff. No, I don't want the tax credit because I'm going to turn in my income tax at the end of the year anyway, and I'll just get it back because it's sort of like putting money in the bank, right? So, when I got back in the day, it was like, yeah, you couldn't wait for your income tax because that was money you could spend in the spring, and whatever it is. So, some folks get a lot back, some get some, and some get these. But here's the thing. So they're trying to coerce, like, here, we'll give you $50, to go get this shot. You're going to do this or whatever. Pelosi, producer of the greatest show on earth. I'm in her crime-riddled district. Oh, my God. I think that there'd be a runaway tire or something that would just take her out magically one day or something. I don't know. She's not so much there anyway. I think some of these folks have honestly been replaced by clones simply because of the way they act and their mannerisms. I think they're robots, but that's my humble opinion. Anyway, there's some proof though out there, and a lot of us are going, nah, that ain't the same. Like, I'm sorry, but if y'all think that Hillary Clinton that's hanging out and going around and doing all this stuff, if that's the real Hillary, nope, because the Hillary that fell down and had to be dragged off died that day, and her double took over because her double is way too healthy, looks too good to have had all the problems that Hillary had up to the day they just think about that. So there's doubles and there's folks that have taken over. So wishing you were an invisible ninja. You can be. That's the whole thing. That you can be. What do you want to be a ninja about? If I don't smell dead, it's not Hillary. Yeah, there you go. But she went from fallen down, being carried and put in a van, and 2.5, 3 hours later, she came walking outside down the steps like nothing had ever fucking happened. That she was perfectly all right, and that all of her ailments and everything simply went away. And it's like, what? 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 No, I don't think so. But anyway, so in that, they have changed our perception and they have included the fact that it's still her out there. Well, it's Hillary. No, it ain't. I look at that, I look at the Hillary now and think, because I mean, I grew up in the 90s. She was on the news all the time. Back in the, no, that ain't Hillary that's out there now. It just ain't. It's close, but it ain't her. There's a cheekbone, there's ears are different, it's not her. So, but anyway, for those of us who've worked in, theater and we've done makeup and stuff, and there are certain things that you just notice about a person's face or something like that. But anyway, so it ain't her. But what's this got to do with it? Because they're shape shifting. They took somebody else and shape shifted her into the present, Hillary, right? They've shape shifted some other people. So if you notice, if you pay attention, there is shape shifting going on right before our very eyes all the time. So, but you have to go through the last 2 hours to understand the nuances of all of these different levels and that all of these things are connected. There are certain times when they have elected to do the shape shifting change, like with Hillary and with other people. There are just different things that have happened, coincidences, times, and I mean, they do it on dates and times. What about Biden? He's propped up. I don't know if he's the real deal or not. I think he's a wind-up toy at the moment that keeps freaking out, and he's freaking out everybody else too. And we have to, for those of us who have thought about this, what about Miss Harris? Do we really want her as the prez? Seriously, do we really want her as the prez? Oh my God. I hope not. And not because she's black and not because she's a woman. It's because she's Kay Harris. Just saying. Just no, don't like her. And a lot of other people don't like her either. So, but to the point though, and she's going to be like the voice of America. Say what you want about Trump and Pence, but at least Pence could make statements. At least he could talk with people. At least he, you know what I mean? He could communicate. He could get things done. He just saying. But these folks right now, I think they have Spirit Woman. I think they have, and the wind-up's breaking. As Dante has suggested, there are kind of sort of human clone type robots, and they've been switched with some people, famous people, and some others too, but a lot of famous people. And they just glitch and like stare off into space. And, Al Roker's done it. He's been on TV and people talking to him, and he just, and that some of these people have been whatever, and they are basically, they have shapeshifted. They, not that they are the same people, that they are literally clones or some other kind of something, and they're not who they were. But if their brain's been wiped and ain't black and she was, yeah. Right. There's a lot of people are going, yeah, you might have picked her and we might have, so they can't make him shapeshift. No, no. The shifting comes in a tank for these clones. Uh, they're, let's consider this, for example, if you overbreed a dog, with like the one of the litter, and then it becomes and da da da, then the dogs get dumber, the horses get, so they're using the same base for the, if they've lost the original and they're depending on the clone, so they take from that clone and do the next one. The next one is not going to be as good as the first one, and so the further you go down the line, so for every robot that they make of him, that it has carried on the defect into the next generation. So he might be walking and talking, but he's basically lost his mind, in that physically it ain't there, because for every time they do this, I'm trying to think, there was something. Oh, okay. Back in the day of tape recorders versus cassette, VHS. So if you made a copy, if you made a copy of a movie, right, on a VHS, so it was a 1-to-1, right, but it was still a copy of it. It was not the original. So it's a fresh master, as we'd call it. It's your backup, but it's not, because it's been transferred and everything. It's not the original. It's really, really close. But back in the time of tapes and so forth. So, but then, so you took that master tape and made your copies off of that, because they used to work for a TV station locally and they bought tapes and so forth. So anyway, so that's how you do it. You always kept your master, but you made copies off of your submaster, as you were. But for every, if you ever lost a master and you had a sub copy, then now that's 3 generations of tape loss. You'd start getting lines in it, even though it'd be a good tape and everything. The quality of the signal, because of the magnetic tapes and the transfer and everything, it would degrade. They made avatars with them. Biden, I was not a shapeshifter. There are other folks who are, but Biden and some of these folks are clones. I mean, it's just obvious. And stand-ins. I think Hillary's got both. I think Hillary had clones, and one of her cousins or something looked a lot like her, and they just did a little work on her and said, "You're going to be Hillary now." And with enough money and everything, she said, "Sure, okay. I ain't doing nothing. I can travel around and be Hillary. What the hell, right?" So, because the old Hillary would have really created a stir by now, and this Hillary ain't. Okay, there's a different mindset. Hey, Jerry, how are you? But this idea, though, that they have shapeshifted in a way, okay? Have they, like, changed their facial thing? But, well, the perception, they're not the original. So they're a copy, so it's shifted into us. We go, well, they look kind of sort of normal, but so did they actually shapeshift, change themselves? But the perception and perspective is what shifted and what has changed. So, but there are those aliens and other entities and so forth that can change their appearance, okay? But these particular entities are not of that kind of thing, okay? They're not built that way, quite frankly, okay? And Joe Biden is too flipping stupid for anything like that. Yeah, the evil glint in their eye, and they don't act normal, right? And they stutter in weird places, and they do strange body ticks and stuff. It ain't right. And for those of you who might follow Dante and the cause and so forth, He's pointed this out in many videos about the Who cats and the Chew cats, and that the Hugh cats are basically human type robots, and they're showing up all over the place with having glitches. And that's because the good guys have stepped in and said, nah, but to the point though, uh, what is it? The body snatchers, that's basically what it is. The pod people, they've taken the originals, copied them. I think about that movie. I watched a sort of a rendition of it the other night. I was like, wow, this is weird. But think about it. So they take the original for whatever reason, and Dante Santori, he's right now, the channel is called The Cause. But so there's a lot of evidence that these folks are, having skinwalkers. Not the same. Skinwalkers are, I want to use this term loosely, alien to us. They could be interdimensional or honestly alien, that kind of can sort of literally crawl into us and walk in our skin. That is absolutely different than a clone or some of these other things. Okay, it is totally different. They're nasty critters that literally walk right in and take over the person. One horn, one eye, flying purple people eater. One horn, one eye, flying purple people eater. One horn, one eye, flying purple people eater. Sure seems strange to me. I was kidding. You were getting better. Get to feeling better, Cherry. These are skin crawlers. There's a lot of different types, though, you see. So there's, types that sort of like, oh man, I can't remember, the Day of the Triffids or something. But anyway, it was these brains that walked around with a spinal cord that attacked, anyway, the Tingler, Damn, I was thirsty. Well, going on 3 hours here. At 5 minutes. So, but anyway, so there are those skin walkers that the old shamans talk about, of the evil spirits that literally will take over, and that if you know that they're there, then, and that your spirit is strong. That's why I keep telling y'all, keep your spirit alive, keep your core strength there, because if they try to enter you and you're strong, they just ain't going to do it. But some little old weakling running around that, don't know squat about nothing, ain't paying attention, walk right in, step right down. Baby, let your hair hang down. Everybody's talking about a new way of walking. Do you have to lose your mind? Yep. Vincent Price, Barry C. Now, I was thinking that. I had this picture of Vincent Price with this thing at his neck, and it took you about a minute and a half to type it and for it to come across. So, but I had Vincent Price in my head, so you picked it up. That's one of those times. See, I put it out there, didn't say anything, but you picked it up. And sometimes Michelle picks it up. Sometimes a lot of you pick it up. But to the point, though, that's what's interesting. So when we are aware that we are control of our own time, most of the time. I mean, I know there are times when time is not our own time. There are responsibilities. There's things we need to do. But to the point, though, we can most of some of the time just say, screw it, I ain't doing this right now. But you know, this ain't the time. Vincent twice. Vincent Price again. But so anyway, yeah, there's some really interesting things out there, but here's the best protection is to be strong. Be strong with yourself. Make sure you got your spirit stuff together. Make sure you're connected. Make sure you stay balanced. And don't go overboard. Just be aware of it. I picked up on David Castle earlier. But anyway, so evil is as evil does. Um, Now, I know for myself because I made my own puppet stories and things. And I was born on September 24th, and so was Jim Henson. And there are a lot of things that he and I have in common. I also have a lot of things in common, oddly enough, with Jeff Dunham. But anyway, that's for another day or time or whatever. But I'd like to sit down with him and do some characters and talking and stuff. But anyway, because I'm a crazy puppeteer and I know what he's going through. I saw Vincent Price. Well, I'll say a prayer for Cherry. Talked about The Fly and other Price movies before. I got you. I'm sweating right now. Sweat lodge is important. I'm kind of wondering, I had this thought today as I was out there for like 15 minutes with the weed eater, and I'm going, I'm sweating like I was in a sweat lodge. And I wanted to, my camp down there is where I used to have the sweat lodge, and I would really like to be able to get it going back. But, you know, right now, it's too damn hot to do a sweat lodge because when you get out, you won't know that you're actually out of it. But anyway. So, but in the sweating and everything, I was like, okay, so instead of looking at the heat and the humidity, it's 520. Okay, 420 somewhere. So happy Saturday, everybody. So we shift the patterns of our life, which is the shape. Now, for those entities, for those things that might literally be able to change their appearance, but I would also say that there's a lot of evidence, like a camellia, okay? They change colors, like those octopi, like not the chubfish, the CH, anyway. They float around and they're interesting little, octopod kind of things, scuttlefish and stuff. They change colors and can blend in and camouflage. But do they literally, think about this, do they shape shift? No, they camouflage, much like many animals do in the woods. So it's common for deer, the fawns to have the spots because they hide very easily. You can't see them. You can walk right by one if they won't move. And, so it's like, but are they invisible? No, they're just very well camouflaged. So, and your awareness is off somewhere else, so you don't see them. So, but did they shapeshift? We have to consider all these subtleties in this idea of what is shapeshifting. And who's talking about what? Well, are you talking about they physically? Are you talking about there's all this shifting that's going on now? Everything is constantly shifting. So how do you want it to morph into? What do you want tomorrow to look like? Well, I would like to spend my time better. Well, for me, I have this new idea of, well, it's hot outside. Yeah. But now I'm gonna say, well, back in the day when I had the sweat lodge, I'd go in for a while. And you'd get hot, you'd pour water on you, and you'd burn some sage, and you'd breathe in, you'd say your prayers, you'd burn some sage, a little more heat, some cold water on your head, and you're sweating like a beastie, and then you come out and you take a breath, you walk around, and in the wintertime, it's great because it's like, 40 degrees outside and you're running around butt naked almost. And, you just come out of a 120-degree, oven, and the change. So there are those steam baths that you get really hot and then you go into cold water. You stay in the cold water a little bit, then you come out and then you go back in. Shifty business, sipping most excellent. But anyway, but with a sweat lodge, you have to be careful. Not everybody can handle it. So because it's intense heat, and but the lodge in itself is a small area, kind of sort of like an igloo in per se, in that this is where you're going to keep your spirit, the smoke, the everything, and the energy and everything. It's not that it can't go someplace else, but it's very intense right there, and the prayers and so forth, right? So, and then when you come out of the sweat lodge and then you're released and you've got all the sweat, and you take some cold water and pour it over you. Oh my God. So I've been looking at, the high humidity, and, we're just starting dog days good. That, and in a couple of days will be my anniversary down on the river when it was so low that I got caught for those 3 days. And now the river is so high. Maybe I could go up the river. That'd be interesting because the water's up enough. That would be interesting. But anyway, but to that, so time's always changing, weather's always changing, incidents are always changing. That's the one thing we can count on is change. So what can we count on with ourselves is be comfortable with it, be aware of it, keep an eye on it, and be confident with ourselves and believe, 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 right? You can throw in a couple more of those beliefs, but understand and stay connected and continue to accept and to receive the knowledge, the healing, the wisdom, and the blessings from the universe, because it's always there. Our connection with each other is there. It showed up tonight in a couple of instances with Vincent Price and the show and a Tingler, and so our connection shows up and should be proof to us. See, it does exist. That's why we come and hang out with each other, is because we know that it exists. And I feel very honored from these folks to you folks, and in that I'm the conversation piece for us to gather. And here's the topic for tonight. And I'm humbled by that. I know sometimes I'm quiet and I don't say much, and then I get on, and for 3 hours you can't shut me up because they give me all this information, and then I feel like I got to go as long as it takes to make sure that this information gets out in enough ways, angles, or whatever, that if somebody doesn't understand it one way, if they hear it again, explain it another way or with another example, they go, oh, I get that, because I'm like that. And when I was learning and stuff, I have burned way too many cigarettes today, just saying. But I've been good about not smoking them. I've just been putting them in the ashtray and they've been burning up. But better the ashtray than me, right? But anyway, so I'm going to wrap this up because it is 5:25 in the morning, and it's almost daylight. And it doesn't matter to me because time is irrelevant, and I used to stay up all night before, so this is not anything new. And that's another thing, is like, so in my timeline, how I choose to spend my time. So you go, well, what's that got to do? And if you notice in my conversation about this, I have only used the word matrix once or twice. Now, I want to ask you all to get out of their matrix and stop using the word. Well, but the matrix, yeah, you're buying into it. You're buying into a thing. It's like, Michelle, I was using you as an example, but in that you brought up the timeline shift thing. Um, we need to be very wary of some of these people, because I think their intentions are good, or they think they were, or something. But the more that I just study the information, like that I've done and shared with you for the last 3 hours, can anybody, can we can change the timelines because of how we react, how we spend our time, how we, whether collectively or not, but because we know that we're of the soul tribe, that we are members of the League of Like-Minded Beings, that we know that we are soul tribe members. We know these things. We're sure of them. We're ahead of the batch because we understand that it exists, and we know that it's true. Not that we're better than some other folks, but we have to prove to them that it's true by our actions. By our actions, they will know us. You haven't had a cigarette in months? So I switched the peppers when they looked the other way. Ahead by a century. But anyway, so we need to stay out of their matrix. And I'm quite frankly believing that some of the things they've been telling us, and because I've been listening, the Galactic Force and other folks, I've been listening to this timeline change, and I've been listening to this, and I've been paying attention, and I used to repeat some of it. And notice I don't say much about timelines, because it's changing all the time. How the aliens change, how their actions in the universe, they could have started something that is a chain reaction, but instead of us, literally buying into the system, they want to pay us to get the shots now, because we would not volunteer. So now they want to pay us. That should make you suspicious right there. Well, we're going to pay you to come get it. Oh, no, you didn't. No, sorry. Don't care how much you're offering. You're going to give me money to do this? Wait, why? Well, we want everybody to be safe. Well, I'm safe. I've been here, through the whole epidemic and things, and I've traveled around. That I'm still here. Got sick for a few days. I think I might have actually had it, but I've had the flu before. I've lived through it. So, I've been taking zinc and L-lysine and, other things and stuff, and keeping up my, my vitamins. And so, but you want to pay me to get the shot? Now that takes things to a whole nother level of suspicion. Before volunteering, okay, they want to pay you. You need to tell your friends and neighbors and just tell them, don't you think that's a little suspicious? How many people died after that? Oh, well, it's going to get worse. Well, it wasn't very bad, actually, as they thought it was going to be, right? We all lost jobs and things. There are more people dying of heroin overdoses than died from the thing, and it's still going on, right? But ain't nobody talking about heroin overdoses. I had that video on addiction the other night. But with this understanding of these things, so it's our choice to change the timeline. And what I mean simply by that is that we are aware of where we want to go. Well, I know I got to work. I know I got to go cut some more grass. I know I got to do some clean. I know I got to fix the truck and get it. I know there are certain things I got to do, but how I do them in the time and the order, that's my choice. You see, now ants in the house made me go clean over here and do some other stuff. Sometimes Mother Nature and other incidents will kind of steer you in the direction that you need to go, whether spiritually or physically or whatever. But, so then you have to take time. That's where this is involved. You have to take time to shift what you're doing to take care of this. See, shifting time and your perspective. So, if you're working under the car because you got an oil leak, then you change your appearance because now you got grease on you. So, I mean, but so you've shape shifted, you know what I mean? You've had to shift the shape of things in order to take care of whatever the daily needs are, whatever has happened, not happened, and we just do our best, right? And don't get upset. You know, I wanted to piss and moan about the ants, and I just went and got the spray that I keep a couple of cans of ant spray around because this is a continuing issue. And it's, I hate to use poison, but I've tried all kinds of other things and they just don't work like, the ant and roach poison, more for the ants. But anyway, so I only use it where necessary. And, but anyway, but the idea though that, my time was changed, things got shifted. And so did I, because now I'm sweating. I'm covered in grass from weed eating. So they are aiming 80% of the population to be vaccinated by this month, and they only recognize Moderna and Pfizer jabs. No, I ain't getting none of them. But thank you. Yeah, they're going to miss it. They're going to miss it by a lot. Because people, like I said, people that my family members, folks along the way, the state of Tennessee it ain't going to buy it. They didn't buy it last time, and now the Senate and the governor approved handguns for everyone, or open carry. Y'all go to Tennessee and try to make them people do that. Oh no, you didn't. If I got them, I know friends in Tennessee, I'll go live up there, But to the point though, don't think so. I got the flu shot 4 years and now, me too, spirit woman. Because every time I got the flu shot, I got sick. So I was going to the doctor once a month and all that kind of stuff. And I haven't been in almost 5 years, 4 years. Or maybe it's longer. I can't remember actually, but I should go get some blood work done just to make sure. But with the understanding of, I quit taking flu shots because they made me sick. The doctor said you're allergic to them. That's all you got to say. So it's in my charts. But all you got to do is say, I'm sorry, but I'm allergic to them. I couldn't take them before, and I'm not going to take one now. Pfizer already announced jabs for children below 12 by September. Well, I know that there are some kids that are above and below that, and their parents ain't taking them. Yeah, see, now, Michelle, you got a flu shot while you were pregnant. Did that have anything to do with Nate's condition? Think about that, right? The doc says what? Refuse? Oh, refuse. I'm sorry. They're going to have to drag me out and tie me down, and I'm going to hurt somebody on the way. I might be small. I might be old, but I'm a wiry son bitch, and I've had to prove it in the past. It took 6 people to get me back in the room, and these guys were big, and they were like, "Man, that little son bitch is strong." I used to play football, so. But the idea, though, that refused, got it. Just say no. I'm sorry, but I've taken flu shots before, and I always get sick, and. So, but anyway, so there are things that we can do. There are things that we can take. There are other stuff. And but there are a lot of doctors that, like my doctor, there are just folks who are going, I don't think so. You're going to force me to do it now versus before it was, I ain't going to do it. Now, here's the thing. And I talked about this before. And because it was the movie I saw was Cell. And so everybody that got a cell phone heard this certain tone and it changed them. So Dante has said that, that there are and people are they're taking those dog scanner things, and going over their arm and go rear rear, the ID chips that they use for to implant with dogs. There people have gotten shots or using those things and going over the area where the shot was, and those things are going off. What the did they put in the? No, I'm sorry. If it was just the virus itself or whatever, I still ain't taking it. You're in PA. I would surround myself with people who felt like me that were gun owners. I'm just saying, if they want to riot, this is going to do it. Have magnetic arms after the jabs. Yeah. That's just like, ain't paying attention. You know what I mean? But like I said, I talk to people in stores and restaurants and, motels, hotels, people, just talking with people, see how things, well, did you get sick? Did you get a shot? And I don't know, maybe 30% of the people I talked to got a shot, maybe. My Jennifer, my niece, she says, "Oh no, they're gonna have, they're gonna have to put me in jail. They're gonna no, not me nor my kids are they giving shots to." And I will, and a lot of parents up there in Decatur and Atlanta and stuff like that, they're going, "Oh no, we ain't doing it." And so these are the women folk. And, as a lot of Southern men folk will know, you don't fuck with, the Georgia women, the good old country girls, not just Georgia, but Alabama, could be in Ohio. You don't fuck with the country girls, they will take care of themselves. I got pneumonia. I have monthly phone. If I get it 3 times in a row after putting him mouth on, he told me that's not where our apartments. Okay. Yeah, a lot of older people, and I'm an older people, and no, I'm not doing it. That's the premise of the Kingsman sequel, Hawkeye, a tone on the phone. Yeah. So, and so Dante has said this, that the Hugh Cat, so there are people that, will turn them into these robots and something will stimulate them. And, so, but if you've had a shot and there's a cell phone tower or something like that, and it triggers you might not know it from then on. You will have no choice but to obey. You know what I mean? So that's where the zombies come in. But the only problem is, hello, so that's the premise on your, the same person had her renter talking, but drop the dead during. Yeah, there's some strange shit going on. There just is. And I know that, of course, I walked around my, uh, neighborhoods whenever I could to see what was going on, just notice things, this and that. And it just seems like, there are lots of normal stuff. But if they start going door to door and making people do this, that the country girl can survive. Kind of a Um, anyway, so this idea that our time is better spent And we should take the time to get close to our friends and take the time to get to know our neighbors like I have recently, and thank them for the gifts and my sage and my feathers and the good food the other day. That, oh my God. I found somebody that makes spaghetti sauce like I do. Not a lot of tomato in it. It's not this red sauce. Oh my God, it was delicious. You know, but anyway, I've had people complain, well, that don't look like spaghetti. Where's the sauce? They want, I say, I get out the ketchup and go, there, are you better? At the corner, but had cable car. Yeah. So whatever evil is going on around you or whatever, stand strong and see it, pay attention to it, but don't get blinded by it. Oh, there's evil spirits and the evil spirits. Don't get wrapped up in it. That's getting caught up in their timeline. See them, identify them, and just say, okay, doke, go on about your business. If they try to mess with you, do your best to, ward them off or whatever, but to the point about, when we worry about it or, this and that, we have to be careful. Yes, I know they're there, but we don't talk about it all the time. For example, there is the story about that which will not be named. So me even coming up with this subject is like taboo, right? Because I'm bringing them up because it's he who shall not be named. And but with that said, though, by bringing it up, it's invoking whatever this energy is. And there are a lot of different cultures that are going, you don't, who, nah, quit talking. But what is it? No, you don't talk about. So, but in some of the ceremonies and things, I have witnessed these spirit things. And it's like, oh, you don't want to name them. You don't want to bring them name to them. You don't want to call them out, So this idea of if you know what the name of the demon, you can exorcise it or something. It kind of works absolutely the opposite way. By saying the name or even thinking it, he knows and will come for you. And so you don't talk about it. You don't. But grandpa, nope, that's it. Think about what I said, but don't talk about it anymore. You don't want to know. That's just know that, it's bad and just leave it alone, grandson. Period. That's the lesson. And over the years, it's like, oh, holy crap, that's so true. So you don't name it, you don't call it, you don't discuss it. It's there. It's always there, but you just don't talk about it. It doesn't mean that you don't know or you don't pay attention. You know what I mean? But you do not speak it. For whatever reason, it gives it power, but to the point. So but in this current life of things, whatever, look around at some of this stuff and you go, well, if you keep repeating it, then, and it's the evil of everybody, and then you see the evil that happened around here, and you say that, you see the evil. So every time you use the word, you're kind of continuing the evil. Yeah, it's out there. Yeah, there's some bad stuff, but quit talking about quit using the word evil all the time. This is one of those things. This is one of those parts of speaking in the positive. If you use certain words all the time, I get, there are bad stuff out there. Yeah, they're evil. Bad stuff. It's like he who shall not be named. It's about this subject. We're not going to, because we don't want to call it to us. We don't, whatever it is in the universe that it seems like. So there is not just he who shall not be named. It's those things that we keep using. So we use the word matrix all the time. I don't. I quit using it. Timelines, the thing about timelines. My staying up all night long and being here with you has changed timelines. Because what were you going to be doing? Sleeping or doing something else? I was probably going to be sleeping over there with the dog or whatever. But fill your cup twice more. Quit talking about it. So just keep getting sick when I say I'm okay. Here's the thing about sickness. Instead of saying I'm sick, you say I'm feeling out of sorts, which is true. And it could mean sick. But saying I'm out of sorts, or I'm out of balance, or I'm not myself today, there are different words that you can use that don't use the word sick. So it's that which shall not be named, like the word evil, like for me, the word matrix. I hate it. It's a movie. Oh, but the matrix, and you're in this matrix. You don't understand it. Stop trying to confuse people with it. Let's talk in a sane mind. Quit bringing up references to the movie. It's their movie, not mine. I'm not in their matrix. I have to wiggle around on the edges, but I'm a bystander. You know, I know there is a matrix to the universe, and we're all a part of that. But you know, this idea of what it's this, and we stop bullets, and we can jump out of windows, and all that. That's fourth dimension. That's fourth dimension. That's where we're headed. Okay, so why we're in training right now? We're kind of sort of, for me, this is like boot camp, learning how to, you know, see other, hear spirits, like Delaney, she's taking pictures, and, and other folks, right? So we're the ones that are kind of sort of bridging the gap in a way, I guess. Was out of sorts all week, but finally powered out of it today and exhausted myself. Yeah, me too, in a way. So there's been a lot of things. Delaney was talking about it earlier that, she sort of felt comatose. And I was just like, somebody needs to light a fire underneath my ass. Of course, it's been raining in the afternoons and the humidity and the summertime. And I'm just depressed because of the freaking heat, rah, rah, rah. So I'm pissed off before I ever go outside because I know it's going to be hot and humid, right? So as I'm outside today, I'm like, I got to rethink this. I have to keep doing stuff, but I have to think about it like I'm going outside, like it's a sweat lodge. Oh, so I go out for a little bit, do a little bit of something, bring in a good sweat, and bring it back in. I don't try to overdo it. I take water, pour it over my head. I took 3 showers a day, cold, just to cool down, right? So, and to bring my temperature down. So I'm thinking, this is sweat lodge. I have not been relating this. This is actually maybe good for me, So, okay. So, but in changing my point of view, I take photos of the sun and capture other objects. Hey, Brandy, I just watched case 39. Possessed girl would call someone. Yep. But so here's the thing about this. These things do exist, but we don't have to call them to us. We know that if you stay out in the sun without a shirt on for too long, you're going to get sunburned, right? I mean, we know that. So is the sun dangerous? Yeah, sort of. But if we wear a shirt, if we wear, a little bit of protection, if we wear a hat and shade our eye, and we, find shade, yeah, well, then the sun ain't a killer. Oh, but it is, but it ain't, but it is, but it ain't, So here's this quandary, but we face death every time we go outside when the sun's out, period. Because it's literally a death-defying feat. Well, I got 2 feet. How many feet you got? 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. She liked the walls. They liked the walls. All for their feet, were dancing. She had anyway, and an old Smothers Brothers song came to me. He had but two legs, but she had one, two, three. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. They like to waltz. Anyway, the brain is getting tired. Yep. Don't worry about it. But so anyway, so with this understanding, and I'm going to quit here with this because it's been almost 4 hours and it's uh, almost 6 o'clock in the morning for me. I love you all, I do. And don't get hung up on other people's words. Remember that that draws you into their matrix, into their reality. So we take a look around like my 2,000-mile journey, and I looked around and I said, it just ain't what they're saying. Could it be? I think the people in Tennessee are going to be like saying, get away, or I'm going to shoot you. And, folks in Texas are going to go, not here. And I think there's some folks in Ohio that would go, So, and I know there are folks in Georgia who are going to go, let me get my gun. And if not, I got a baseball bat and some other stuff. You're going to have to shoot me with a tranq dart, to get me. Now you can imagine that they're going to line us all up in the street and shoot us with dart guns. Okay. Think about that. So anyway, Brandy, sorry, I got to go. I would hang out with you, but, please feel free to rewind this and, and think of us, when you do. We love you, Brandy, and everybody else too. Elderberry, thank you. I know I just got on here, Spirit kicked me out of the bed again and some other stuff and said, hey, we need to have this discussion. But don't get caught up in their timeline. Remember that the changes we make every single moment of every single day affects our timeline. And our timelines combined changes what they expect. Again, they want to have this thing said and done by the end of this year because they have an agenda. We change it by not going along, by changing it. That's where World War III is the vaccination, if y'all don't get that one. The war is already here, and that's it. So, time to find a safer place for you, maybe. But there are, we of like-minded beings need to get together, and protect each other. But anyway, so I know there are folks down here is like, no, y'all ain't coming into my house and doing nothing. And, here's the thing. The sheriff's department knows better. Now, it may some, quote, federal agency, but you know what I'm going to do? I would suggest this. If somebody comes to your door, say, let me call the sheriff and see if he's apprised of this situation. Who do you work for? And who sent you? I'm sorry. I'm on county property. I'm on state property. And from what I understand is that if you're from a federal agency, you just can't come walking in here without some kind of officialdom from my local county magistrate and my sheriff's department. And you get there are some sheriffs and deputies and so forth that ain't going to go for this shit. So you call them up and go, hey, these people are trying to tell me I got to take a shot. I want you to come and protect me. Serve and protect. There's going to be some sheriffs and deputies that are going to go, think about that one. How do we change things? That's how we do it. Because feds can't come in and overrun us. Well, the county, the state, the thingy. Oh, really? Who said it? Well, it's a federal mandate. Get off my property. If it's state, we'll talk about it. If it's county, okie dokie. But federal, get away. Go away. But anyway, and stay away from keywords. I know I mentioned matrix and the word evil and, like the word sick. You just change it to something else. Well, I'm a little tired, but even using the word tired for me suggests that Well, so I have to like, and if I use the word tired, that means I'm tired all the time, which I kind of sort of am. But let's not tell the truth. You want to lie to the brain. You want to say, yeah, there's something up. Oh, I'm just feeling out of sorts. Well, that could include tired. It could include sick to your stomach. It could include a stubbed toe. You know what I mean? So, but this idea that we must name our sickness, we must name our faults. I used to name my sicknesses. Well, I've had this and I got to take this medication. I won't blah, 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 blah. And so I named it all the time. And I was sick all the time. I had to go to the doctor all the time. And, I don't do that anymore because I quit naming it. Now, there are times when you have to use certain words. Yeah, my lower back hurts too. And out there today with the weed eater, I just wanted to scream. I was like, we got to do this for 5 more minutes. And it was all I could do to last 3 more minutes. I finally had to say, no, that's it. But anyway, and my right arm has been shaking because I was using it to hold the thing. And so I get it. Who knows what will happen to Keller Horrid. But so anyway, we need to keep working together with each other. We need to, prayers are energies. And let me bring this up. If you feel threatened all the time energetically, I want you to think about this. If you're thinking it all the time, are you calling the negative energy to you like Rabbit does from the spirit card, right? So we want to make sure that we're not doing it. And we have to be honest with ourselves because, well, no, I'm not doing it. Well, then listen. Then you need to put a trigger word in your little ear and go, if I hear myself say something about this, I need to go, what? And say, what's going on here? Wait a minute. Let me pay attention. What? That's sort of like the shape-shifting thing that sort of triggered me into this download of going on 4 hours. So it's my fault, someone else's. No. Listen, there's stuff in the universe that ain't your fault. Well, I was sick and I went over to their house and now everybody in the house is sick. Well, maybe. But if somebody else is sick and you ain't been there, then it ain't your fault. And don't place blame on yourself that don't need to be there. Because then, guess what? You're using that which should not be named and you're naming it, whatever it is. So, I used to, man, all I got's bad luck. This was me talking years ago. Man, I'm clumsy all the time. Son of a bitch, I'm one clumsy son of a bitch. That I used to say that out loud and hear myself. And somebody one day said, why are you cursing yourself? And I said, what? Well, by calling yourself a foolish. Well, that was foolish of me. And I'm a dummy for doing it. You're bringing that onto you. So, you say, look, I've got some kind of condition. I don't know what it is. Meaning you're sick. Well, I don't have a fever and I feel like this and this and I'm low on energy. And I can't think of any food or anything that I've had recently. And let me tell you, folks, that if I don't eat out very much. And when I was on my trip, that's basically what I had to do was eat out a lot, right? And there were some things that it's just like, food was good and all that kind of thing, but you know, I can't eat out at restaurants and stuff. And I think there are people who are eating out and doing sort of normal things, but their bodies have changed, and you can't do that anymore. And that eating certain foods or whatever, you say, well, it was just normal, but then you end up sick and you don't know why. Um, I'm getting stronger now. I always want to put this caveat in there. We can save ourselves of almost anything, but there are some things that, like cancer, if you've got cancer to a point that it just might be like, well, that's it. My friend Serge that passed away a year ago now, they said when he got sick, that was it. That was it. There was like, ain't nothing we can do. You just live out what time you got, and that's that. So it's like, okay. So there are some things that are just beyond our control of fixing with ourselves. If because it just might be our time, you know, our ticket. This might be our ticket, right? It's here. It is. So we have to understand that. But you know, in the long run, if we do the best to take care of ourselves and we continue the positive thought instead of thinking I'm sick all the time, uh, you know, so pay attention to certain things that you have or whatever. And if your blood sugar is low, for example, for me, I have these little fig bars, and I have one or once. There's a specialist glove to cancel out the vibration from your weed eater, filled with a gel. Chainsaw users have them. It's not that, Ian. It's because of my neck and my issues. It's not my hand. It's my whole arm. And this is the arm that I fell on in the river when I was in Tennessee, and it's weak. And I was doing some other stuff with this arm, and combined with the weed eater, I'm shaky in this arm. You know, it's like normal. I'm like, yeah, I really overdid it, but this is the shoulder and the arm that I fell on most. This is also, you know, but anyway, but thank you, Ian. Thank you. But this is not one of the things. I have gloves that I use, and I've been using a chainsaw for years. And chainsaws, I learned how to hold on to them, and so you don't push them, you just let them glide, and there's no vibration. I've got a strap that I have for my weed eater. At the moment, it's a little too short. It broke, and needs some adjustment. But it's more in how I hold it that bothers me. And I'll be 69 soon. But anyway, but thank you. Still, I understand it. But yeah, I use big gloves, and that helps absorb it. Yes, all the time. So I get it. Thank you. Having been around these tools and stuff my lifetime, as they're homeless, pooping everywhere like everybody. Um, yes, in some neighborhoods and some things, the answer is yeah. Now, how bad it is, I don't know, but elderberry to the answer is yes. In certain places in Tampa and some places, even up in here in Albany, and certain even places in Moultrie, there's some homeless people that they go behind a dumpster or they find a place, and yeah, they go where they can. Having known homeless folks and trying to give them a home for a while here, I have talked and listened. Yeah, it's not just there, but yeah, homeless people are pooping in weird places because they won't let homeless people go in some of these restaurants, some of these stores and whatever you do to use the restrooms. But anyway, you're 59 in 10 days. Damn, you're a youngin', Barry. And I'll be 69 in like 2 months. Yeah, because what's today? Oh, today's the 31st. So today's the last day of July. Well, on the 24th, it would have been 2 months. So I'm less than 2 months away from my birthday. So, but anyway, and I'll be 10 years older. And you're 62, Spirit Woman? You're the age of my brother, one of my brothers. I got pictures in the mail, but yeah, when we get this age, and the thing is we honestly, we can't worry about it. We just need to do better. You just turned 49. Well, bless your heart. So yeah, I'm my wish for my birthday present is that I want to go on a river. I want to go on a river that I haven't been on, and I want to go have a good time. And if it means that me and Doug are going to go by ourselves, and damn it, we're going to go. It just is what it is. Uh, the towers. Yes, and I crab boil my. Yeah, hazmat suits. Yeah, and portable high speed washers. But anyway, 72. You're the age of my daughter, Michelle. She was born in 72 in May. But anyway, so after 4 hours of doing this, and I love you all, I do, but I got to get some rest. And it might be that uh, as the sun comes up, I go and do something outside before it gets too hot. But the humidity is still nasty. But anyway, I'll go out and check the kitty cats and see where the moon's at, kind of thing. It was interesting that the planet Saturn was flickering tonight, and there's not supposed to be any clouds in the sky, but it kept disappearing. It was just really odd. But anyway, I've lit this cigarette 3 times. Yeah, I'm off to bed too. Yep. Yeah, that's about the way I'm right now, Barry. If there's something I can do, to while it's cool outside, I'll go make another cup of coffee and maybe have a bowl of cereal and see what I can get done, because it will get nasty this afternoon. And, you know, better to sleep through this afternoon in the heat of the day when it's like it was 108 feels like today, with the temperature at about 95 to 96. So, that's hot enough. But this humidity, when you add it to that, and, I was out in Las Vegas and out on the lake and doing the jet ski thing and all that back in 99. And it was like 110 was the temperature, but there was no humidity. And we were like, it's 110. If it was 110 in Georgia, we'd all be like dead, right? Um, Ian, good night to you. Thank you for the thing about the gloves. I'll remember that, because in my older age, anything like that can help. So thank you for the tip. So, but anyway, I love you all. I continue to pray that each and every day, that each and every one of you will continue to learn how to accept and receive the knowledge, the healing, the wisdom, and the blessings from the universe. And now, not that I've had anybody question it, but just in case anybody wonders why I feel it's important to repeat this prayer 3 times, because in the law of 3, there's a lot of energy. And I feel it's important because this is really how I feel. And so I continue every day that I put my feet on the ground, me and the dog, we go outside and we say, we continue to pray that each and every day that each and every one of you, your friends, your family, and all those you may come in contact with, will learn to accept and receive the knowledge, the healing, the wisdom, and the many blessings from the universe. And in that law of three, which just tickles me, I continue to pray that each and every day, that each and every one of you will continue to learn to accept and receive and share the knowledge, the healing, the wisdom, and the many blessings in the universe. So, love to you all. Have a great weekend coming up. Yeah, the UV is really bad. Be careful, keep water around, keep hydrated, but our perspective, remember, we shift the time, we shift ourselves, stay out of their matrix, and keep up the good work. So, cheers, everybody. Thank you so much. I love you all and keep up the good work. Every one of you is doing good work. Keep it up. And, make sure that you stay strong. And whatever evil may be around you, remember, don't call it to you. They smell the fear and will come a running towards you. So learn to just be strong in who you are and be careful that you don't get you goo. You're welcome, Ian. Thank you always. And, share what you can of this. But when people talk about certain things, about timelines and stuff, I just want you to be aware that do they really know what they're talking about? Just saying, because I'm finding out that it sounds like a bunch of bull that somebody's been trying to propagate to us to get us to believe that this is a certain thing. And these aliens are doing all this timeline work when actually every single one of us and our reactions to what's going on is what's changing the timeline. Remember, we have control of the timeline. And the more of us that join together in soul tribes, the League of Like-Minded Beings, and these kind of places, remember that when we gather together, it's not just, two people gathered together make a third. 1 + 1 = 3. And that's sort of a hard thing maybe to understand for some folks. But so when two or more people gather together and we share these things, it makes a difference. We're the ones changing the timelines. Keep that in mind, because when you feel that it's hopeless to you, when you realize that you have control of certain situations and you take that power back if you've lost it, it will give you strength. So be safe, everybody. Until next time, cheers. I love you. And Bob, thank you for the few glitches. And wing to everybody out there. Until next time, we love you. Bye.